Hello, Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. Today we got a really, really good show. Just in case you don't know that I do that every week, I always say that. I'm so into this format. We're going to talk about how to create compelling audio live streams with LinkedIn Live. You can, of course, add your video if you want to. That's absolutely up to you. But if you don't want to, then we've got a solution for you that is very loosely based on the LinkedIn audio events that disappeared last year in December. Many people who were very fascinated by them have gone forever now. I don't know where they went, can't find them, but I'm going to try and replicate that feel. And I think in many ways we've actually created something even better. So I've got some partners in crime here helping me out today. We're going to talk about LinkedIn audio events, how they work, why we love them. We love doing them, and we'd love you to hear from what you're doing. You do it. It makes sense to have a bit of a better tech if you want to. I have a Zoom P4 and a Zoom, a Samsung 2QU. I'm dancing around a bit because I'm pretty excited. Americo has got a Zoom P4 as well, but he's going to take it on the road. He's got a Shure SM58. And we're very, very excited, very, very, very excited by what's going to happen there. If you do have any questions or comments, I'd love you to tell me where you're calling in from. I'd love you to come on the show. We've got people calling in from all over the world. And I was interviewed in the UK this week as a result. And my friend Cyrus is there just waiting in the wings to tell us all about that. I'd love to get 100 comments per show. I'd love to get 100 comments. One of the reasons I take a little bit of time to set this up is that I know, even in spite of the fact that this is a live stream, a lot of people say they watch the replay. And so I'm just front loading this because I think this will be a resource moving forward for people who don't necessarily know yet how to live stream. I'm going to talk a lot about this. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes wrapping up what the show's about. These shows go for a very, very, very long time. And we've got quite a few comments in there. So what I'll do is I'll go to the team. I'll bring Cyrus in from the UK, and I'll send the link to a few of my mates. And we'll have a lot of fun with this today. There's no rules. We just sort of talk as we go. And it'll go as long as it goes. So, Americo, you're really rocking this. Tell us what you're doing and how you want to sort of take this. What do you recommend people do here? What do you think it is? What do you think LinkedIn live streams are?
Well, not just LinkedIn live streams, but live streams in general. They are the secret weapon. And I touched on this earlier this week, breaking down why I think it's the secret weapon, because it allows us the opportunity to show up, engage in real time with our communities, and just engage in what we know as social selling. We're not here to pitch. We're here to have a discussion. We're here to build trust, gain visibility, and more importantly, build community. And when you do that with precision, you don't have to pitch, because people who gravitate to your message and resonate with your message will engage with you.
I love it. I think it's the no pitch. I mean, I've been sort of asked a few times about this idea that, you're getting so many followers every week. How do you follow up with them? And I can tell you for sure what I don't do, and that is, hello, my name's Keith, and I've got an ebook, and if you click here, you can get it for free. We've all had, we call that pitch slapping, right? And that's one thing I do not do. I will never do. I never do the pitch slapping thing. So these events are a chance for people to say, hey, there's that Keith guy. He's doing a show. Let's go and have a listen to him talking. He knows what he's talking about. And Americo and Lynn and Bez is there and Cyrus. They all seem to know what they're talking about. That's pretty funky. And it's very low pressure, isn't it? You're just
it absolutely very low pressure. And, this form of content acts as currency. It's people, we invest our time in giving back to the community, building awareness, and that currency can then be exchanged for conversations, but at the community's pace, at the appetite in which people are consuming it. There's no pressure. Everyone who reaches out to me takes a moment to share how this approach it's not different. We're not creating something new. Social selling has been around for quite some time, but not everyone embraces it. But those who do, they get rewarded in ways that perhaps others who might get quicker win, but they don't get the satisfaction, the value, and most importantly, this isn't about us. This is about our customers, our community. So when you make it about everything other than yourself, you then become a recommended voice, a recommended person that others will invite to reach out to us.
Well, let me pick up on this idea of the invited voice. I do 2 shows a week because I love them. I love them, and I'm just being myself. And my mate in Manchester, Cyrus, he said, "Mate, I got someone I think you'd like. This really lovely person called Zara." So Zara reached out to me last week and said, "Can you come on my show?" Yep, I can. So I came on her show last week, last Thursday, my time, and we did this little 30-minute snippet. I was in Melbourne. I am in Melbourne. She's in Manchester, I think, and there it is. The time difference was enormous. From that one piece of content, we've had 8 SoundCloud snippets and 4 Substack blog posts from one piece of content that went half an hour, just being ourselves. There was no selling at all. We're just doing it. Right? And Cyrus, tell us about this. What do you think of the LinkedIn live format? I know you don't mind video and you've been doing the video version, and we can do both. What do you think of this format? I think it's astonishing.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are based. My name is Cyrus, and I have the pleasure of joining you from Manchester, the UK. So, first, if I may please say something about what Americo explained about earlier, about not in so many words. He referred to the warm market and the cold market. When you run a show, run a podcast, as long as you have, Keith, people in this room are amongst your warm market, right? The concept of pitch slapping that comes in when you're trying to sell to the cold market. As soon as they slide into your DM, they pitch slap you, and that is something unwelcome. So the human psychology says people love to shop, or they hate being sold to, right?
Oh, wow. Let's pick up on that. I love to shop. I love buying things. Like, I love going to shops. I love going to a shop and playing with gadgets, but I hate it when people ring me and try and sell me solar.
Yeah. So that's exactly what you have done as well. So Zara got back in touch with me after I asked her to come and go and interview you. So she said to me, she was really excited. She said, Keith is really excited. So all of a sudden, 2 organizations were like vibrating pretty highly. So and on the same wavelength, really. And one of the best interviews, because I listened to all of her interviews, and yours was pretty exciting because she was willing to interview you. You were willing to actually provide the best value, as you always do. And that's one of the reasons why that episode turned out to be one of the best episodes that we've done. Thank you. Well done.
I love what we've done there. I mean, let me just pick up on what happened here. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. I do 2 shows a week because I love it. I love doing them. And Cyrus loves coming to them, and he says, "Mate, I think you're a bit of a dude. I've got a friend. This is the mindset of the super connector. I've got a friend who I think would benefit from your wisdom, and she's got a podcast and she's got an audience on Spotify. Can I connect you two together? Sure. Now the time difference was quite confusing because of the UK. They're 9 hours behind, so I had to wait till wifey was at yoga. But we made it at 7 o'clock on a Thursday. Now from that one piece of content, we collectively, as a sort of a force of nature, have created 10 separate pieces of content from one 30-minute experience. I could have just watched television in that 30 minutes or made a cup of tea or did the dishes or mowed the lawn. I could have done any other number of things in that 30-minute period. But I was interviewed in the UK, and that turned into 10 other pieces of content. And more again, because I'm just so excited. I keep talking about it because I'm in it. So, you build your own luck in a way. That's why I love these shows. You can tell that I'm into it. I'm an Aussie living in Melbourne. I'm not fabricating anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just being myself. And people love that. They love the authenticity factor, don't they, Cyrus? It's a win. It's just so good. Yeah. I know Cyrus, it's very, very early for him, so I'm not going to push him too hard. He's got a day gig in the city, and I know he's got to get some sleep. But I'll give you a reply there before you have to go.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you for having me on your show, and hopefully I'll stay for longer on the next one. Your shows are fantastic. I love them.
No
your work
your
work is great, and your guests on the stage are also.
Well, I wanted to share this example because it's a very good example. Melbourne to Manchester and back. And we're just doing it. We're just being ourselves. We're not pushing it. We're not flogging anything. We're just being ourselves, and people know. People talk. Yeah. Bez, you've got a good friend, Jim, who actually I think has an Amazon Live channel. Do you want to pick up on what he thinks of all this and whether or not he might come in today?
He might come in today. I was with him earlier. He does have an Amazon Live account as well. So, and he does a lot of video and selling on video, sort of like a Billy Boy.
Billy Thorpe thing.
Billy Thorpe, but and they both know each other. But he is also doing a lot with Substack. So
okay. Well, that would be a very, very good.
Yeah. Well, we were inside StreamYard and looking at Substack. We uncovered something. So, he did, because he's been putting little tutorials or little posts on Substack, and there was some things yesterday we found out that I'd like eventually maybe we can recap later, because I wrote them down somewhere, but I can't find it. It was really good.
Let me pick up on what you just said there. This is really important. We're talking today about why compelling audio live streams on LinkedIn are so powerful. I want you to go back and listen to what happened yesterday. We did a show. This is an amazing, maybe my best show. We did a show about the difference between podcasting and live streaming. Now I'm demonstrating why this is so very powerful. And a person in Canada said, look, I've got a book and I'd love to find a way to put to speak out chapters onto a format. What do you recommend? Now, we didn't know. I didn't know. We were just brainstorming. So Lachelle, who's in Atlanta, said, oh, look, I think you can use Substack. All right. Okay, let's try that. And then we did. We tried it. And we got it working. And in the time, this is amazing, like in the time that we were chatting, Lachelle added about 20 podcasts that were sitting on her C drive. Anyway, so we were actioning our advice. This is why this format is so powerful. It's not learning in a passive state. Oh, I might do that later. That is great. Let me try it. And we tried it live on air yesterday, right? So we found out, I didn't know this. We found out that you can add podcasts to Substack and they show up in a line like a playlist. You can read them out, or you can add an MP3 or a waveform. And man, that was so powerful. That was so good. And Lachelle did it live. She's got about 20 of them there. While we've been chatting, she just uploaded all these podcasts she had sitting there. And we are learning from each other. We are learning from each other. And talking about that, I think Lachelle has heard her or felt her ears burning. Lachelle, we are just chatting about we're talking about the idea of why LinkedIn live audio streams are so powerful. And I think yesterday we proved our own point, didn't we? That we did a live masterclass on putting podcasts on Substack, and you did it. Tell us how you did it, because it was a miracle. You did it so quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is a miracle because I am not tech savvy at all. So if I could do it, anybody can do it. But I was just listening to everything that Elaine was saying around going to your profile and clicking on the podcast. And when you do that, it's very user friendly. I think this is another plus around Substack is that it makes everything just a low barrier to entry. So I was able to upload my RSS feed from Spotify and put it in Substack. And then today I hadn't made a post. I've set my account up, but never posted anything. So I made a post, and immediately when you post something, it sends you an email and it has assets that go towards your posts. So it's these graphics that they send you that are already optimized for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I think, and TikTok. And so it makes it so user friendly for you to just repost that, and they walk you through everything. So I mean, they have thought of everything. So I really was really impressed by that, because I just thought, well, let me make a post because I've never made one. And I was trying to upload a video, and something happened. I don't know what I was doing, but I ended up doing a regular audio because I was seeing that for some reason the video wasn't working. Probably user error. Okay. So anyway, I ended up doing a quick little audio message, and it populated everything for me. So it really is a good platform. And I'm 54, y'all. So I know that there are younger people that have, more insight around the technology and everything. But I feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, I think ultimately, if nothing else, this is the main reason why I love LinkedIn live audio events, because people ask me, well, what are they and why are you doing them? But we learn so much from each other that is the reason to do them. Like, do them yourself and invite people, or go to other people's shows. Because I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn by doing. I'm not a reader. I never read the manual. I never read the manual. Never. Right? I have to play. Right? And when you hear these LinkedIn audio events playing out, and we'll pick up on a bit more about how to do them, because this is a bit of a tutorial, then you realize that, hang on, we are really rocking this, and we're all friends, and we're all got challenges, and we've all got time restrictions, and there's things in our way, and the dogs are barking, and someone next door is mowing his lawn, and there's life goes on. But in amongst that, we are learning stuff that we can action. Yeah. And we are action takers. And you coined this phrase yesterday, Lachelle, collaboration in action. It's not enough to just hear it and say, one day when I've got nothing to do and the sun is shining and the kids aren't screaming and the lawn's mowed and there's no birds there and it's a perfect day, one day in like 2047, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to learn this. And we know how that feels, because it all feels so immense. But when you're right here and you go, I got time right now. Let's do it right now. Because we talked a lot about flow. Yesterday. And on these shows, the LinkedIn Live audio events. We are in flow with the community. Like, this is not me talking at you and just hoping someone's going to watch it. We are talking with each other, and the show is the guests. It's not me. I'm just the facilitator. I think this is a unique format. I've never come across such a dynamic format before, and I'm just going to do these every week forever. I think I just love it.
And here's something you don't get in a podcast. Well, maybe you do, but it's the fact that it's interactive. I can now share with Lachelle and everyone who's listening, when it comes to uploading your video files on Substack, the hack is patience. Because if your file is big enough, it will take a few minutes, because it is uploading and parsing your video, transcribing it, and then turning those transcripts into short assets. So it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes depending on the size. So be patient with it and don't give up.
Can I throw something in there to what Americo said?
Please.
Okay, so I was looking at that because I was looking at the shorts it was making. Did you know, because it transcribes it, that if you go edit the transcription, it'll change it? It's almost like a mini Descript.
Oh, wow. You can actually change.
Yeah, so those shorts he's talking about, like, because it'll clip stuff up, you can go in there and say, oh, that's not correct, or I didn't want to, or I want to remove the word so, or whatever, and it'll remove it. And so it'll correct it. So just something to share with you. Now, I don't know, I'd have to test to see how it sounds, but you can actually edit the transcription and the audio should match up.
This keeps getting better and better.
It never ends, does it? It never ends. It never ends. I've got another Substack hack in a minute, but let's pick up on this. Descript.com is arguably the best piece of tech for changing your repurposing, and the reason is you can change the transcript as opposed to having to edit live. Editing audio live takes a long time. I know, because I do it a lot. And so if you can do that with Substack, and let me just explain how this works. You put a video in the top, and it works through it, and it pumps out little chunks in the bottom. Man, this is so good. This just keeps getting better and better and better and better. Now, the question, of course, is what does this mean for LinkedIn Live? LinkedIn Live is the conduit. It's like an online classroom. Like, we are learning from each other. People listening to that go, hey, that Keith guy's funny. Please tell me that I am, because it's good for my ego. But, he's this guy that speaks funny on the other side of the world, and there's someone calling in from the UK, and there's someone in Bama, and there's someone in Atlanta, and someone's calling in from New Zealand. This is a pretty funky show. So the show itself is like a form of entertainment. But the value to the guests and the hosts is that we learn so much that this is our classroom in a way. Would you agree, Lachelle? This is like a classroom.
Yeah. Now, so my question is, I think what I was trying to do was see if I could embed a video. Are you able to embed a video? So like if you have a YouTube, you can?
Yeah. So I'll send you a screenshot of this. With Substack, you can embed 4 things. You can embed a photo, an image. You can embed a audio, and you can embed a video, and indirectly you can hyperlink to any site outside. So you can embed a video inside the post that'll play inside. And if you want to, you can then put a link on the bottom to say, actually, this links to a longer YouTube video. So here's the link, and go there. But then you're taking them outside of Substack, but you're taking them somewhere else, like YouTube or SoundCloud. So you've got like 4 choices. It's astonishing. So I'm going to run with this slide. LinkedIn Live audio events are so good for online learning, because there might be some people listening going, hang on, mate, you're not talking about LinkedIn here. You're talking about all these other sites. What? Can you come back to the point, please? But the point is that we are a community that come together once or twice a week, and we share what we've learnt so far. So we now know that we can change the transcript live inside of Substack. We know that we can embed videos and audios and images inside of Substack. And I learnt today that there is an SEO button, Americo. If you go into settings, there's a button that says change your SEO, and you can put in 160 characters that gives Google a chance to work out what it's about. Because Substack's not, as far as I understand, not very good for SEO. So it's a bit of a Mona Lisa in a paddock, a lovely thing that no one can find. But let's come back to topic a little bit. We'll come back. We'll move into Substack in a minute because we're all pretty groovy on this. But I want to do this as a sort of a resource. What do you think are the very compelling reasons to do the LinkedIn events, especially as an audio, but also as a video? And Lynn, you can start because you did a video today. What do you think's the main difference between a LinkedIn audio event and just putting your face on camera and being interviewed by someone else? Because you've done both now.
Yeah, it is it's different because, for me, I do tend to get slightly distracted because, I'm looking at myself and I can, you tend to do that because I guess it's just natural. You want to see how you're coming across to the audience. So I think if I could be better at not getting distracted, it would be okay. But the ease of doing audio, you don't have that distraction. You can just come on and just be relaxed, and it's an easier way to communicate to me. So I do like them both, but I think I do tend to get a little bit more distracted, with the video.
I think that what you've said there is very right. This is the main reason that I've stopped doing LinkedIn audio video events. As a host on your own, like, it's impossible to comprehend how hard this is. You're trying to look into the screen. You're managing the guests, plural. You're trying to see if there's any comments. You're then trying to think of a reasonable response to the comments while you're live and interviewing the guest. And you've got questions coming from them and at them, and also questions it's very, very, very difficult to do by yourself. You probably need a producer. So I stopped doing them because I don't particularly like looking at videos where people are going, hang on, there's someone over there on Substack. There's someone over there on TikTok. Hello everyone on Instagram. And I'm going, who are you talking to? Are you talking to me, or are you talking to them, or who am I? I mean, I don't feel like I'm involved. So I really, really hate those live streams where the people don't know who they're talking to. They're just sort of talking at everyone, but no one. So by turning the video off, you get rid of that distraction. Now, I'm going to throw to Americo because he does both. What do you think are the main differences between LinkedIn audio events and having your video on for events? Because you do both, and I'm very open to why they would work as well. What do you think, in America? A voice from the silence?
Let's try this off of mute. I'm going to demonstrate as to why audio events work really well. So if you have a drum roll, I'm kidding, you don't need to. All right. So live to this event, I am here sharing my thoughts, my opinions, and I'm unshaven. I don't have to worry about what I look like. And that's what a lot of people like about audio events. Aside from the camera distractions or the camera anxiety, you're comfortable and you don't have to go through another layer of complexity to get your message across. Now, those who enjoy cameras Listen, yes, I do both events, and I do both with purpose and intent, and whatever my guests or my clients are comfortable with and what they prefer, then I'll do it. At the end of the day, both forms and both formats do the same thing. They bring our authentic selves to our audience. So there really isn't that much difference. We're looking at this from a top of funnel perspective. We're here to raise awareness. We're here to raise consideration for the message that we're bringing to our communities. And for some, it means, I want to be on camera. I want that moment and that spotlight. Others, like, I have no fear of talking, but I'm really not comfortable sitting in front of the camera. And sometimes that comfort is just, the butterflies. But you touched on a very, very important part, that some people prefer not to be on camera because of the distraction. And I see myself many times when I look at the playbacks and I listen to the playbacks. And you're right. When you're hosting and you're managing the studio, it is not fun to watch yourself not pay, or what seems to be not paying attention to what's going on. Meanwhile, you're multitasking and you're trying to keep everything afloat. So it does take work. It does take some ingenuity, but the audio experience removes some of that, and there's not as much lifting required, but the value is just as equal, if not, probably some would say even better than the on-camera experience.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think it's very important to know. This is a very good chance to talk about, if you've never done this before. If you do have any questions, please ask them in the comments section. We can have up to innumerable questions, but up to 6 people on stage at any one time if you want to do that. We'd love to get to 100 comments. I think we're at 27 now, so that's good. Let's keep that going. But the question really is, how do you create these events and why would you do them? So very, very, very importantly, you need a third party. A lot of people don't know this, but you need a third party site. So you can't do this straight off of LinkedIn. You have to have a third party site. I choose Restream, but there's also StreamYard, and there's a very, very good one called Ecamm, which is 4K video, only works on Macs, right? So on all of those 3 sites, you can create a video experience if you want to. If you want to, you can do that. It's not that much harder. I choose to create an audio experience. That's what I want to do with my events. So with a Restream, and we'll talk a bit about StreamYard in a minute because they're very similar. With a Restream, we can have up to 6 people on stage. You can have really lovely graphics, some cool effects. We can get the stars shining, we can get the sparkle. The stars are aligning. You can have comments, you can have captions, and you can even have a ticker. I might even create a ticker I'll show you what that means, looks like in a minute. So you've got these lovely, lovely, lovely ideas that you can share with your audience, which stops the whole pitch slapping thing. But let's have this discussion about why you would use audio as opposed to video, and why you would use the reverse. Bez, I know you love doing videos, and you've done several, and you are invited to speak on many of them. Why would you use audio, and in what scenario would video be better? Let me just see if we've got him there. No luck. Oh, Bez calling Bez. Earth calling Bez. Earth calling Bez. I'll come back to Lynn because we did that. You had a lovely interview today, Lynn. But there's this sort of layer. Americo mentioned it very, very well. We have to shave. Now we have to do our hair. We have to make sure that the background isn't messy. There's a few extra layers that are that we do. Some people love this because it's a chance to showcase themselves. Hey, that's Keith. That's what he looks like in real life. Not so different to the photo. So that's good. But there's a lot of extra layers, isn't there? And I'd imagine for you, there'd be even more layers because, you know, we don't have the same, guys don't have the same pressure to look good. We have an ego, but we don't have pressure. You would probably have an extra couple of layers to look good on camera, wouldn't you? And it's a great relief to not have to do that, right?
Oh gosh, yes, because I could just come on your show, put my hair in a ponytail, and you know, I'm here just relaxed, hanging out with you guys. And I'm sorry for that in the background. If you hear that, that's the garage. But you know, it's so much more relaxed, and you can, you know, not have that pressure. And so it's for those that really don't want to come on camera, you should do the audio, because at least it is helping you to put your business, yourself out there. So I would say give it a go.
Yeah,
you know,
actually, I really love what you've said there.
Mhm.
This idea that if you've got a business and you want to get yourself out there, but you don't particularly feel comfortable on camera, LinkedIn audio events are such a great way to do this. They're just such a great way to. I'm still myself. I'm still Keith Keller from Melbourne, Australia. I haven't changed. Just the fact that I haven't shaved and my background's a bit messy and I'm a boy, you know, I'm a bloke. I'm messy. I mean, I'm allowed to be messy. I'm a bloke. But I don't necessarily have to advertise that to the world. But I also don't want to spend an hour cleaning up before I do a show. Because, you know, my creative flow is what it is. And I do create a bit of mess on the way. I'm a bit rough and tumble like that. But I'm not embarrassed about that. I just don't need to show the world exactly how messy I am. Doesn't make me any less wise, if that's the right word, without sounding conceited. I know what I know. Just because there's, you know, junk on the floor or I haven't had this hair on my face doesn't mean I'm any less wise. What do you think, Bez? I'm really interested in your thoughts about video versus audio from a guy's perspective. Do you feel the pressure of having to perform on camera, or do you like both? Because I know you do both.
Well, I like both. I mean, during the pandemic, I really enjoyed audio. It was a low lift video, like you said, is a heavy lift. You have to do this, that, and the other, and that is the truth. It takes more effort. A show, like you said, may also need a producer, so a second pair of hands. So there's a lot going on. I believe audio events are more manageable, but I'm a big fan of video. Absolutely, I like to get out there and you know, make some jokes, kiss a hand, kiss a few, shake a few hands, kiss a few babies.
What about let's flip it from the point of view of the consumer. Like, this is very important to me. I don't read books. I don't watch videos, right? So I'm extremely biased. I don't read books. I have no interest in writing a book, and I have no interest in reading books. So don't talk to me about authors, because I just don't know anything about it. The same thing about video. I don't watch videos, so I'm extremely biased. But what about consumers? What's the consumer experience? This is a very, very important point, because it's not all about us. What's the consumer experience of watching a live stream video with people talking, as opposed to a lovely graphics and just a sort of a thumbnail bouncing? What do you think, Bez? Because you love both and you probably watch both.
I mean, you can get pretty boring just two talking heads. And what I've noticed from your audio events, you're very intentional. You come in with different graphics, because of what it does a pattern interrupt. So it flutters and it makes your brains like, okay, it wakes you up, because, you know, it after about 30 minutes, you can't go, you know, comfortably numb. Right. And that's a joke.
That's my favorite song of all time.
you caught on. Okay. Anyways, we don't want to be comfortably numb. We need those pattern interrupts, and you do a really good job of having images prepared. It's helped me think about, because I'm gonna do a live stream, but I gotta prepare all the elements and all the scenes, right? Which is what you do, even for audio. So you gotta make it fun. You have to make so I love how you do it with the audio. And that's just not me being you're my friend and all, but you can be boring with two talking heads, believe me. So
Well, you know the thing that I love, and I've done both, but it's like I've just added some little comments. Like I can do that while you're talking. The flow doesn't change. I'm just behind the scenes typing in little comments. Is audio or video better for engagement? Now, I personally don't watch video, so I'm a bit biased, and I'm aware that I'm biased, and we all are. But our audience is not us. And sometimes our audience that does things that we don't necessarily do in our personal lives. So I'm aware that a lot of people love video. I just don't personally love them. So what do you think, Lachelle? What do you think's the main difference between audio and video from a consumer's point of view, from your point of view of consuming content and the people you know? What are the advantages and disadvantages of both systems?
Well, I happen to like them both. I believe that it depends on the content. So I can learn by someone telling me, because I'm a word person. So I like to read, I like to write. So whether you tell it to me audibly or I see it, I prefer audio because there's less distractions. I can focus more on what someone is sharing, and I can recall the information better when I just simply hear it and I'm not trying to remember or be distracted by any other thing. But I think it depends on the type of content as well, because some things you just have to have video in order for people.
Did we lose you? We lost the signal. I'll just have to. I'll go in and here's a little mini break while we work out what happened there. And we're back. Something happened. I had to make it up. We call that ad-libbing in the professional radio world. There's a word for that. Making stuff up actually has a title. It comes from the original Latin, meaning talking shit in the middle of the day. So Lachelle dropped out. I had to make it up. So Lachelle, if you're back, jump in. If not, that's okay. We'll keep going.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you dropped out there.
Yeah, gotta love it. It's great things happening over here in Georgia. I don't know. But I would say I don't even know where I got dropped
You're
off.
saying the idea that that video is more distracting. Some people prefer it, but
yeah, and I would
more
say also, depending on the content, because if you're if you're learning something that or you're teaching the audience something, I think as a host, it's your responsibility to understand that there are going to be different ways that you can engage the audience. Um, you may have to read the comments more to keep them engaged or post them, or which also can be a distraction for you as the host. I remember when I started doing video, script of thinking about what I was going to say, and I would run off the rails based on what the comments were, with the people that were engaging live on the show. So I think it is a lot more work for the host when you have video, because you have to engage the audience and be mindful of that based on their level of engagement. But for me personally, I like them both, because I like to be able to see how someone is responding to gauge how authentic
Yeah, a lot of people
they
have
are.
said that one element, that hosts like to see their guests. I don't need that, but I know this. And Bez, pick up on this, I get, because I know you do several live streaming shows on camera. How does that feel as the guest and the host to do that as opposed to this format? Because you're doing both. I think the dogs are barking. What do you think, Americo? As a host, how does this format differ for you when you do video?
Well, in both instances, each event is interactive, and that's equally important. You know, Bez touched on being comfortably numb. Yes, it is easy to get complacent and just be, whether it's talking heads or even on camera, to get complacent. I enjoy having graphics just similar to yourself and making each experience interactive, either by bringing up slides, bringing up some overlays, some graphics, something that keeps everyone at bay, where you don't know what's coming up. If it's a presentation, if it is, for instance, a masterclass format, people have experienced some of my lives where I will bring up a presentation and we'll learn together. But it's also important in both instances, whether it's audio, whether it's video, don't catch yourself reading things verbatim. You still want your live stream to be conversational and not transactional.
Yeah, there's a key phrase, and I'll wait for Bez to pick up on this again. There's a key phrase called pattern interrupt. Now, personally, I cannot stand watching two talking heads speaking. I can't stand it. I find it intolerably boring. Like I just cannot do it. I just can't. It's just too boring for me. So I don't bother. I mean, there's no point. Why even worry about that? So if two talking heads are talking for an hour, then you don't even need to watch it. You can just listen to it while you're doing something else. Right? So in a way, that's an audio experience. You just happen to be seeing people doing something, but they're not doing anything, right? But a pattern interrupt, which is why I love Restream, a pattern, and some people say I do it too often, but a pattern interrupt is, okay, I'm just changing the imagery around. So if you are watching this, there's a little bit of movement going, oh, hang on, I better wake up now. Sorry, I missed that. What were you talking about? I just dazed off there. And if you add the added dimension of saying, for instance, you're going on a road trip and you're going to use your Zoom P4. What's a Zoom P4? You've got a visual for that. So I think this format, for me, is the ideal format. Like, you can add images if you want to. You can have up to 6 guests if you want to, and everyone gets a turn, and you can see their faces. This is very, very cool. So,
do you set a timer for that?
A timer,
Keith? Do you set a timer to switch up the scenes and stuff, or is it just something you just do?
I'm very much into flow.
Naturally.
So, I'm very much into flow. So what I do, and I'm pretty proud of this, I prepare the slides ahead of time, and I've got hundreds and hundreds on my C drive. So when I say, hey, guys, if you want to, can you please make some comments? Marsha's there, and I'll bring Marsha in a minute. And we'd love to get to 100 comments. I've got those already. So click a button. And so the image matches my mouth. My mouth matches the images. So I love this format. And the truth is that when you're on video, you cannot do this by yourself. You just cannot, unless you're superhuman. And please, if you worked out a way to do it, or there's a tablet you can take, please send me some, because I tried doing this. I got a migraine every day. My brain just was exploding. Like there was gunk on the floor, and at the end of each, it was bleeding. My ears were bleeding. You know, because my brain was just on overdrive. It was hot. You know that feeling when your brain just is right at the end and it's going to explode like a football. right? My
Yeah.
brain felt like a football, and I was just doing too much. So I dropped right back. Marsha, we can talk about the road trip idea in a minute. How is that going? Again, segue based on the comments. How is your road trip idea going? You may want to explain what's happened. Marsha may not have heard the story.
Yeah, so the road trip, Marsha may have picked up the Florida road trip. The Florida road trip came to a grinding halt when Homeland Security denied entry to the U.S., and I'd have to take a different route to get into the U.S. I have to apply for a non-resident visa to get in order for this road trip to happen. Well, for that particular geography. So in lieu of the road trip to Florida, we are doing a road trip around the GTA and open to guesting and interviewing professionals, business owners across the Greater Toronto area. And as far as, Ottawa and even the outskirts of Quebec, Montreal, and making the road trip a real event and not just something we're talking about. So I am open to scheduling these events. I'm looking forward to anyone who's interested. Feel free, reach out if you know somebody who is open to this idea.
From
Connect them with
memory,
me.
Marsha's in Mississauga, isn't she?
Marsha,
Is that right, Marsha? Are you in Mississauga? I mean, is that how you say it? I just love that word. It's like my favorite word, Mississauga. Hello,
So
Mississauga. Good morning, Mississauga.
The G is somewhat silent. It's just Mississauga.
Oh, Mississauga.
Or maybe the U is silent. It's
The
just
U is
Mississauga.
silent.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that's what my wife says to me every time. The U is silent, Keith. Do you get it? Do you get it? Can you be silent? The U is silent. So I think it's Mississauga.
Yes.
So, Marsha, I'm pretty confident that's right. And how far is that from where you are?
On a good traffic day, I could probably get there in a half hour.
Yeah, man, we're getting close now. So here's a guy in Toronto. Mississauga is a sort of an outlying suburb of Toronto, maybe. He's got a Zoom P4 and Mike's on the way. And, have car will travel. And that's a thing. We could get a selfie out of this, a Keithy. We could get a Keithy out of this. You want to jump in?
We could get Keithys.
Marsha, we got room. Marsha's, good supporter of the show. What would that look like? It's half an hour away. You could be there by lunchtime, tomorrow even, and you got a lot in common. What would you chat about? Let's pick up on this. The social audio social audio's road trip up the road. I'm guessing it's a pretty funky town. Is there a Rush museum? Can we get you playing the Rickenbacker and singing Rush songs?
Probably not. You don't want to hear me sing. That's a great way to ruin this road trip. But Marsha and I connected on LinkedIn through the job seeking experience. Both her and I spent many years in the insurance industry, different verticals, and we've been supporting each other during events where we were job seekers and helping amplify each other every other time where perhaps the conversation wasn't just about looking for work. So we can definitely build a conversation around many areas. So if you're open to it, Marcia, send me a DM.
Yeah, I think the thing is that we call it. There's a phrase we use now, the entrepreneurial language lexicon. We call it building in public. Now, this is a thing in the 2020s. We are telling you what we're doing, and you can watch us doing it. A lot of people don't agree with this. They say, no, don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone until it happens. Well, that's just that's like 20th century thinking, maybe even 19th century thinking. Don't tell anyone until it happens. What if it doesn't happen? Then you got egg on your face. Yeah, okay, no worries. But we are so into what we're doing. We're saying, look, this hasn't happened yet, but it will. And when it does, you'll know that you've been involved in the process. And it could be argued that by telling people that it's happening, it happens faster than if you don't tell anyone and try and do everything yourself. I'm really into this. So many people try to do everything themselves, and you can't. You just can't. I mean, it's just not possible.
Here's another idea. Once the mics come in, Marcia, if you're open to it, I know you and I have spoken about this in the past. I believe your husband does some hand carvings, and he sells them. Well, let's do an episode, and let's talk about this business of your husband's, a pastime, perhaps a craft of his that he tries to monetize, and let's help boost and raise awareness around his carvings.
I've sent you the link, Marsha, but jump in if you can. But here's an example. Look, I never see this done. I never, ever, ever, ever see this done on a video live stream. Maybe I just haven't seen them. But, we are talking. There's people in the audience that come on stage. There's people that come on stage that then go and DM the other people. We will get a Keithy out of this. There will be a moment in time. Lachelle and Bez are going to do another one. They're both in Atlanta. Lynn and Jay are in Bama. So it's not too far. It's not sort of too far-fetched. So you're going to get to Mississauga, and you're going to hang out at a cafe and talk and do things, and then you're going to turn that into a podcast, a blog post, a Substack post, maybe a little bit of a live stream, and you'll get a photo. You're having fun, you're learning things, and you're getting the message out. Like this is the way we do it now. This is the entrepreneurial mindset. We are functioning in a different universe than the 20th century. Don't you agree, America? It's just the world is different now.
The world is different, and it's fun. Sometimes change is difficult to embrace, but this is a fun change. And I gotta tell you, Jim, I'm just thinking here out loud. Jim Woodbridge has a lot of great things going on, and probably reach out to him and have a coffee and a chat with him as well. So I know he registered to attend today. I don't know if he's listening, but if your ears are ringing, Jim, or if you're catching this on replay, stay tuned. I'd like to set something up with you as well.
So this is you've heard it live on KKFM. There's actually a KKFM, so please don't sue me. I mean, I'm just using my name as a bit of a tagline. KKFM on the internet. But if you're hearing this and you're thinking, well, this is fun. Two people in Toronto are going to have lunch. Bez and Lachelle, have you got round to chatting to each other yet? I mean, you must be like 10 minutes from each other. What's going on? What can I get you together? Am I like a professional matchmaker? What's moving? I mean, is there things in the way, or what's happening? We've been talking about this a while.
You know what? I don't know. I have a lot going on with my children. But I'm listening to Bez, and I think he is a lot further north than I am. So it would be something that we definitely would have to communicate a good time if we would meet halfway or something like that. So that's really what's coming up for me.
Bez, what are you thinking? What's the impediment? You love to shake hands and kiss babies. Well, Lachelle has 15 babies. There's no excuses. What are you thinking? Am I putting you on the spot there, Bez? He's gone strangely silent. That's okay. We'll come back to it. So what we've been doing is we've been talking about why would you do and how do you do LinkedIn live audio events. Now we're demonstrating the why by just having a chat with people all over the world. Alabama, Atlanta, Toronto, Mississauga, Melbourne, Australia, Manchester. You know, the sky is the limit. If you want to hang out locally, there's people in your town. If you want to hang out internationally, you can just go online, and we meet and we do lots of really funky things. We had a chat, and this is a very good chance to talk about that. We had a chat yesterday about the various ways that we can repurpose these shows. These shows go for 4 hours. And I wanted to spend the first hour really nailing why you would do LinkedIn audio events and how to do them. And I might just give everyone a chance to wrap up that part, and then we're going to move to the magic that happened yesterday, because we have to pick up on this. So what do you think, Americo? Last thoughts on this idea of why would a person new to this do a LinkedIn audio event? What's the magic? What's the point of it?
It is the quickest, most effective way to build trust and credibility. Now, you mentioned the word why we want to do this, and I want to add the importance of understanding your why, because that's important. You can't just show up live and talk about everything. Listen, I've tried it. It doesn't work. You gotta, if you want to be a voice of authority, a voice that people trust, stick to your event and stick in one lane. Know your why, know your purpose, and build value around that. And they will come, they will listen, you will be seen, you will be heard, and guess what? You will be remembered.
Yeah, I think let's pick up on this. This is very important. A lot of people think they can be all things for everyone. They like the idea of niching. Who do you serve? Oh, anyone can buy my product. Anyone, yeah. My wife, my grandmother, my mum, my sister, my brother, my best friend, my next door neighbor. Yeah, that look at my product. It can solve every problem known to mankind since the history of time. Okay, no worries. That's a pretty big claim. Who's likely to buy it? Well, look, I don't know. I've never thought of it. It's just a good product. I don't know if you've ever had this conversation, but most people are reluctant to niche. Oh, I don't want to lock out all these other people. The point is that if you don't have a very, very clear message, you say nothing to no one, because you fade to black. No one takes any notice. Right? If you don't like audio events and you don't need to know more about microphones, you don't need to listen to my show. No, I get that. If you like cooking or gardening or riding your bike on a weekend, you won't listen to my show. You don't like it. There's nothing in it for you. And I'm not aiming for them. So what you're saying there, Americo, is very, very important. Be very clear on what you're doing, and you will get a market. 1.2 billion people use LinkedIn. 1.2 billion. And look at these numbers. 255 million people in the US and North America, Latin America, 183 million people. It's a big audience. That's where they are. They hang out here. So you've got to be very clear on your message. I want to just wrap up this first section so that we can go into the new section with full sort of clarity and just absolutely expand on it. What do you think, Lachelle, is the reason why people would do these formats, and what are you benefiting from for those who have never done it and thinking of trying it? Sorry, I think Lynn's stepped. Lynn, what do you think? Lynn, what do you think are the main formats? As a business owner, what do you think are the main advantages of doing this format?
Well, because it gives the consumer, they get to know you. They get to know who you are, and they get to know, it humanizes you to the consumer that's out there to buy what you're selling. You're sharing your story, and you're putting yourself out there, like we said, and that is and that's important. When you're when you're trying to build a business, because you're in part, you're selling who you're a part of it. You're a part of that business. And so and people want to know who they're doing business with.
That's right. And we call this social selling. Pick up on this idea, America, because I've heard you use the word. My friend Tim Hughes in London talks about this all the time. And hello, Brian, jump in if you want to speak. DM me if you want a link to the show. We're not connected, so I need. And you're in Atlanta as well. Wow, this is the thing. You're in Atlanta as well, so DM me if you want to connect, and we'll send you the link. But this idea of social selling, or the idea of being real, authentic, and we want to know who we're buying things from, unless it's Amazon or you're just buying some cheap product that comes in the mail. You want to know. You want to know that you get connected to people.
Absolutely. And I touched on it earlier. It's like your brand is a currency, and you're using that currency to buy trust from your community. And you can't do that by forcing your products and services down someone's throat. If you walk down the street and try to peddle your products to a complete stranger, how would that be welcomed? It probably wouldn't. Right? So why is it any different in the social landscape, in the social ecosystem?
Yeah. Well, let's pick up on this. I'm going to wrap up the first section, which is about what are LinkedIn audio events? Why would you do them? I know that a lot of people that will listen to this replay have probably never tried them, and they're probably wondering if it's worthwhile. The idea here is that you're warming up your leads. Like if you pitch slap someone, and we've all been pitch slapped, 2 minutes after, maybe 10 seconds after you connect with someone, guess what? My name is such and such, and I live in this really little town, and we have the most amazing produce here, and I've written a book about that. And if you want to buy my book, you just click here and I'll send it to you. And if not, I've got a friend of mine who makes graphics, and my friend makes web design really easy. And I've got a friend over there that does really, really funky videos on YouTube. So here's all the links, and thank you for connecting. And please buy my stuff. I know we don't know each other yet, but I'm pretty proud of this. Come on. Come on. You just hit me right over the head. We call it a pitch slap. It's a thing on LinkedIn. So what you're doing here with these LinkedIn audio events, and if you want to do them on video too, is you're warming up your audience to say, hey, that Keith Keller dude, he's actually all right. I think I trust him now. Maybe I will get that funky video of cooking in the garden. I'd like him. So you're giving your audience a chance to hear you, to see you. And hello, Jessica. I came in on the pitch slap idea. Did I miss here? Not pimp slap. Actually, that's an interesting idea. Imagine going on LinkedIn and someone saying, hey, look, and not only do I have LinkedIn a book about ebooks, I've also got a whole lot of other products that are a bit unsavory. It's called a pimp slap. We're talking about a pimp slap. So, you may not know this, but Jessica's just made some comments. So this is why the LinkedIn audio events are so good. The audience is participating. They actually help create the content. I'd love to hear your thoughts about whether you've been pitch slapped, Jessica, and whether or not we're talking about the idea of whether you should do these as a video format or an audio format. And you're very welcome to come and join us. We've got room. I'll just send you the link. So I'm going to wrap up this first section about why you would do LinkedIn audio events, how they differ to LinkedIn video events. And I want to pick up on a lot of what happened yesterday. Yesterday, because I do 2 shows a week, yesterday's event was maybe one of my best ever because we all learned so much. And I closed it down at the front of the show because I wanted to give everyone a chance to experience this format. But we have discovered collectively as a community with each other that Substack is a thing. Right? Now, that might sound pretty weird because it's been going since 2017, but until last week, I'd never tried it. And we are trying it collectively together. So, Lachelle, if you're back, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're using that. And if not, that's okay because America's using it too. But Lachelle was a very good example of what this show's about. We had this idea live on air, and she was trying it in the background. Now, Lachelle might be busy, so I'll let her go. But America, you're using it in a slightly different way. You're downloading the video of previous shows. This is worth knowing. You're downloading the video from previous shows, and Substack on your behalf is creating small snippets for you. Can you explain that process for people who've never heard of this before? This actually links with why you would do this. It's repurposing your shows, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've made a conscious effort to try to make the most out of my content. It's no secret I spend most of my time here on LinkedIn, but after having discovered Substack and what was once a community dedicated and devoted to readers, we can now share video files, we can now share audio files. And through that discovery, I learned that once you upload a video, Substack will parse it, will transcribe it, and create short snippets on what they believe are the most compelling pieces of that conversation. Of course, you can also create your own simply by highlighting the area in the transcript which you'd like to create a short that may not have been curated automatically by Substack. But I'm trying different variations. You're experimenting with it, and like you've taught me things in your experimentation and your use. We then learned about the ability to import podcasts. So I'm excited as to where we are. Yes, we might, for some, we might be, those late adopters, depending on where they see themselves in the hype cycle. I think we're coming in at a very good time and still can grow exponentially and be very effective. I'm going to wrap this up and let someone else talk, but I've made the decision this week to use and leverage Substack for my long form content and dedicate LinkedIn to my short form content, creating teasers and inviting my community to come read the full blog, the full newsletter, the full report that I might be dropping on Substack. So it's about the versatility. And if you talk to people here on LinkedIn, there are different opinions of what LinkedIn may or may not do, or what others suggest they do when you provide an external link. Substack is quite the opposite. They're open to cross-pollinating communities to bring people into their ecosystem as well as out of their ecosystem. It's something I've never experienced before. There might be someone who might share with us, hey, another particular platform may have been doing it for quite some time, but I'm excited to be here and learning with the community, and we're doing this together. So we're going to learn at a much quicker pace because we're trying different things at different times and sharing with each other.
I love it. I love what we're doing here. We are talking today, and Jessica, I've sent you the link. If you would like to know more about pitch slapping and how that differs to the dreaded cold DM, which is possibly the same thing, please jump in and talk about this. But we talk about the idea of LinkedIn Live events, and these shows go for a very long time. And a few of us have thought, wouldn't it be great if we found a site that helps us decode that into smaller snippets? And we have. It's called Substack. And we have been, as a group, as a community, we've been exploring the different ways that we can use Substack to take out the essence of the shows that we do, because the power of social audio is that we don't know what's going to happen, and we learn things that we didn't know. And we've already been going 90 minutes. So some of the gold, this actually happens. Some of the gold happens at the second and third hour. My highest score is 6 hours and 600 people. And I know for sure there was a bit of gold in one of my shows that happened at the 5 hour 16-minute mark that wouldn't have happened if we didn't have that preceding momentum, right? Because people are busy, or it's late, or it's early. Like India's, for instance, 6 hours behind me, and England's 9 hours behind me, and Singapore's 2 hours, and New York's 14 hours. So people are awake or asleep or busy, but then suddenly they find us and they're there and it suits them. So please, please, please join us, Jessica, if you've got time, if you're in the zone, if you're in a room where that suits you. And we can talk about pitch slapping and also cold DMs. But Lachelle, we've been talking about the idea of Substack as a subsequent strategy for using LinkedIn audio events. Can you briefly explain what happened yesterday and how you took it up and have run with it?
Yes. For me, I love LinkedIn for the relationships as well as the collaborations. I believe that, when you come to an event and you are on stage or live or whatever the case is, that, it is part of your responsibility for the show to engage in a way that is creating value. So we had a guest come on who was talking about Substack, and I had created a profile earlier from a show that we had talked about it. And she was explaining how you could turn your things that you put in Substack, you can make them podcasts or something. And so she went through the process to explain how that you can import your podcast, or you could create them on the Substack platform. So while she was explaining that, I was behind the scenes importing my own podcast in real time. So I find that when you're in community, it can take a lot of the fear or anxiety around, am I doing this right? What are people going to think? When you're just in the moment of brainstorming and talking, you just do it, right? And you have that less pressure to be perfect. It's just about, taking a chance and just doing it. So that's what happened. I imported my podcast from Spotify into Substack. And that's one of the things that I appreciate around having community and collaborating, because you find out things that I would not have probably had that conversation around Substack. If I was just at home. I mean, this show comes on usually as I am ending my day. I've already had dinner, and my kids are like prepping for school the next day. And so it's really like, I'm not doing a lot of research at this time. I'm kind of winding down. So to be in a space to where I can actively learn and do something in real time, it really is beneficial for me. And it takes a lot of that pressure off of feeling like it has to be perfect for me to try a new platform of some sort.
I love the format, because often, like, we've got a couple of things swimming in our brain that we sort of put on hold. Look, I really do need to work out a way to edit those podcasts. I really do need to work that out, but I'll put that aside. Can't do it today. And then we've always got a couple of projects on the go, and then suddenly someone comes on and says, hey, I've worked out a way to put your podcasts that are sitting on your C drive on the Substack, and Substack sends them to Spotify. Whoa, wow. I've been thinking about that. Right? So when that happened yesterday, you thought, well, this is like very fortuitous. I've been thinking about this, but I couldn't get my head around how to do it. Now someone's done it, and she's explaining how to do it. It's just genius, isn't it? If we take the time to share what we know, other people will benefit. And if we listen in when other people are explaining it, we will benefit. And
that's
why the shows go so long.
Yeah, and I think it's we make things so difficult, right? We've been talking a lot around even finding ways to repurpose content. And a lot of times we can say all these things that sound good, but when you have something in real time that you can actually do it with, I think that's the beneficial part because, you're preparing for this promotion where you're doing 30 days of, I'm getting it wrong, but you know what I mean? My heart means right. 30 days or 30 different ways you do your content. I can't remember what it is, but this is an example of that because I already had a Spotify and I just took my Spotify RSS feed and put it onto Substack. So I feel like when we learn how to do these things, we're really not starting at ground zero. So if somebody is to go to my Substack now, they have a lot of content that they can start looking at, even though I just made my first post today.
Yeah, it's a miracle. So what Lachelle's talking about there is repurpose 3030. And I've got a really good example, which I mentioned in the start of the show, but we've got a few new listeners. In November, starting on the 12th, I'm going to run a little campaign. It's not a challenge. There's no pressure. You don't have to do this. It's going to be a communal effort. We're going to try and get 30 pieces of content from our existing content from the previous year, 2025, in 30 days. Doesn't have to be 30 days. That's why I'm starting it in the middle of November, so it's not a hard and fast challenge because I don't want people to stress out. Just take your time, find different ways to repurpose what you've already got. It can be Substack, it can be SoundCloud, it can be Spotify, it could be a WordPress blog, it could be a YouTube video. And we're going to share our success stories. It's called Repurpose 3030. I'll share a link to this in a minute. Now, I've got a very good example of this inspired by that. I was interviewed in the UK, in Manchester, on Thursday night. And I said, well, this is a very good example of what I can do to walk the talk. I was interviewed by this lovely person called Zara Camp. And she interviewed me and I spoke quite well. And she said, oh, this is pretty good. And she put it onto her Spotify account. So that's one. So she did the interview. That's one piece of content. She then put it onto Spotify. That's two pieces of content. I then put it onto my SoundCloud account. That's three pieces of content. I created a blog on Substack. That's four pieces of content, and on and on and on. We ended up with 10 pieces of content like in 2 days because we're in that mindset. Where can we put it? What can we do? And I got really, really in the zone. Happened to coincide with the day I had free time. And on Monday, a couple of days ago now, on Monday, I just really locked myself in and I'd created 8 pieces of content like in the morning. And they all became blog posts and SoundCloud files. So my job for Repurpose 3030 is to take content that we already have and make something better or different. So that event, that particular interview is very good. I'm very proud of it. I'm happy to share it. I'm going to bring you a link to there. I'm on it's on SoundCloud, and I love it. I'm very proud of this. But we can do better. We can do more. Because what if you're not on SoundCloud? What if you don't have a Substack account? What if you don't use LinkedIn? You don't get this stuff. You miss it. That's okay. We're not miracle workers. But wouldn't it be good if we could share it with different people? So from that one show, and we are now exploring this as a community, we're going to create in November 30 pieces of content in 30 days. Now, there's no pressure. This is not a challenge. You're not going to go into the naughty corner if you miss out, because that's one of the reasons people don't do it, because they're too overwhelmed. We're going to make it fun. We're going to learn from each other. I've already found lots of really good sites to use, and I'm going to explore that more. Let's have a bit of a chat about how we're currently repurposing. Do you want to start, Americo, how are you repurposing your content, and where can we start in November to hit the ground running?
So I'm repurposing through old or aged or stale content, bringing it back to life. I'm parsing through my my newsletters, my short form, my long form, and looking at it from an analytics perspective. So if something worked really well last year, let's chalk that one up and prioritize it for this repurpose exercise, but not losing sight of the content that perhaps didn't perform as well, because as our communities grow and as the algorithm pushes our content to, let's say, 2% of our community, that 2% last year will be very likely a different 2% this year, and they may be more engaged and more aligned with your brand messaging. So don't turn your back on the poor performing content if you're going to consider resurrecting it during a repurpose campaign.
Yeah, I mean, if you're constantly building your account, the account you had in January is different to the account you have now in October. Is it nearly October? It's nearly October. So, you've got 10 months of content there, 10 months of experiences, 10 months of going to events, 10 months of doing content, 10 months of blog posts. And some of those went really well. And they might just be sitting there and we never touched them again. And
That's right.
It's a bit of a shame. I just think it's a bit of a shame. Oh, so
then,
yeah.
Subsequently, you want to take, from a repurposing lens, take something and recreate it in a different format. So if you have a show like this one today that is sitting in your archives from a year ago, bring it up, get the transcript, create a blog, create a newsletter, and bring it back to life and link it back to the replay for those who want to go back and listen and may have missed it. So there's many ways to repurpose. Those are the two that I'm leaning into.
I love this. What I'm actually going to do in October is I'm going to take a month off and sort of do a deep dive into these technologies. Someone's got to work them out, right? So I'm pretty confident I've worked out Substack. I'm going to dive deep into Otter and Descript and all these others, and I'm going to pull them apart. I would be very interested to know what people are using currently to give me some ideas of what to try. What are you using, Bez? Do you have any repurposing tools that you know of that you're currently using?
I am not using any repurposing tool. I'm thinking there's a couple tools I'm looking at to potentially buy. But there's one called Blaze out there that looks pretty good. I have some AppSumo things I bought over the past that I need to look at to see if there was one called Social Bee, another one called okay, I gotta, but they were repurposing tools. So there are a few tools I'm looking at out there, but even Substack can do some repurposing for you. But there's another one called 360 that has a lifetime deal. There's also audio stuff that is going out there. I think it's hero.fm. That looks pretty promising, and they're saying that audio podcasts can be landing pages and help you funnel business. So they look at it from a different perspective, which might be something you might be interested, Keith. So because you're all about audio. So there's some tools. Any tool that I'm looking at has got to be AI enabled, because that's where we're at right now. And if you're not using AI,
what do you mean by that? How would you define that? What do you mean by AI enabled?
Well, I don't know. I open up Word and it's AI enabled. I open up Microsoft Office Suite, it's AI enabled. You open up your Gmail, that's AI enabled with Gemini and everything. I open up Canva. So there. Okay. So here's another thing. Canva can take your Facebook post, a one-on-one, one-by-one dimension, and can make it into almost any social media post dimension you ask it to.
Okay, that's a good example.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff you already use. I just realized that because I do use that feature. When I make a flyer, I'll make a flyer and then I'll say, okay, make this into there's these little things where I can make it a Twitter post, I can make it a LinkedIn post, I can make it a Facebook post, I can make it a story, a reel, and all those dimensions. So it's so Canva can be a repurposing tool, and you can actually, I believe, schedule content through Canva. So you may already have some tools that you use that can repurpose and schedule your content.
That's very important. Now this is an extremely important segue. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So what would be the value of sending a LinkedIn recording to a Facebook group, and should you do that? What would be the value of sending an Instagram post to TikTok, and how do you do that? This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the idea that we have a piece of content, say on YouTube. Do we necessarily want to chop it up and put it into 16:9 or 9:16 and then send it to Instagram? Will that look any good? Will it do any good? Because there's no point just putting it there for the sake of it. You got to measure it.
Yeah. So you bring up a very good point. So if you have, and that's why some people record long content first, and then they'll record at the top of the week a 1 hour very intentional piece of content, and then they'll chop it up from there. Because what happens, Keith, is you're 100% correct. Content on different platforms behaves different, and it has a different ecosystem that people there operate under, right? And if you come in, like, it's almost like not reading the room, and you come in and you're trying to do and I see this a lot, especially on LinkedIn. All the marketers are coming over on LinkedIn, and what they used to do on Facebook, they're trying to pitch over here. Like you said, it's a pitch fest, where they're, and all of a sudden they become LinkedIn expert, and you look at their profile, and, they may have 500 followers, and they're just trying to do what they did over here. They don't understand that the average per capita household income is $75,000 here in the United States. They don't understand that it's not about the likes, the follows. It's about some content has very little engagement, if none at all, but gets the best conversion. And so here on LinkedIn, there's a different type of people in the B2C space. And also it's a whole different game in the B2B space. So it behaves differently. And if you're coming in from Instagram, TikTok, and you're trying to be that here on LinkedIn, it may not resonate, even though LinkedIn is trying to push out short video. It's still
imagine doing a TikTok video and putting it on YouTube. I mean, putting it on LinkedIn. It would look silly, wouldn't it? It would just look silly.
Yeah, it would, unless maybe it was educational. Maybe it served a purpose of people who come here for their careers, professional development. I think you have to understand the platform. You can make shorts and meaningful short form content, but it's got to be related to why people are here, right?
Let's pick up on this. Let's run the room on this idea. We're running a LinkedIn live audio event. We love it. They go 4 hours. We can't then just chop it up and turn it to 9:16 and send it to Instagram. We could, but it wouldn't work. So you've got to understand each social network and how they differ, how the audiences differ, how the people that watch them have different habits. I want to have a bit of a chat about this because I'd be interested to know people's thoughts on the different paradigms. I personally do not use Instagram or TikTok. I just don't resonate with that format. I just don't like it. I just don't use it, don't like it. But let's start there because I don't know anything about them. Why would you do an Instagram post or a TikTok post, and how do they differ? How does Instagram differ to TikTok? They both seem quite silly to me, but they must be quite different. What do you think, Bez? How would you use TikTok and Instagram to get the message out if you're primarily on LinkedIn? They're very different sites.
Yeah, I don't use TikTok that much, even though I have a TikTok account. I'll use Instagram more, but I use it more for family and friends. Now, I do have a profile that's for my business, but it's sort of weird, doing. I got to figure that out because, LinkedIn has a certain vibe, and they'll say I'm here trying to post, business and things that are probably more appropriate on LinkedIn, and it sort of falls flat. So you have to spice it up to the Instagram vibe, what I might post on LinkedIn. But yeah, I mean, just got to read the room and figure out what works. And if you don't know, ask people. They'll tell you what works.
Well, this is a very good example. As I said, I don't use Instagram or TikTok at all. They're not; those sites do not resonate with my brain. But I know that they're very popular, and so it's very important. I came across this very, very important graphic recently from Sprout Social. I didn't make this up. This is not my information. Gen Z spend 10 hours on their phone every day. People over 60 spend 2 hours. It's very important. Like, this is extremely important. Who is the person that you want to read it? Like, Gen Z's, lovely that they are, probably don't resonate with a guy in his 50s from Melbourne, Australia. I don't expect them to. They've just left school, right? They're probably at uni, or maybe they're still living at home. I mean, but they're spending 10 hours a day on their phone. I don't get that. That's not my life. So each site targets a different dynamic. I'd be very interested to know how this let's sit here for a while and play out the various sites and how you use them and how you would repurpose the content we currently have for sites like this. And if Jessica, if you're still listening, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Bez, which sites do you use, and how does it fit against that graph that we've got there?
Okay. So social media screen time by generation in Australia. I'm more like a probably Gen Xer. Yeah, 6 hours, 5 minutes. That's. I mean, I'd have to look. It all depends. I can be quite busy, and I do business on my phone. So whether that screen time is, sending text or actually talking to people, that can be misleading if I look at my stats on my iPhone, because iPhone will give you stats on that. So I don't know. I mean, during the day, probably not so much, other than what I need to do. Maybe in the morning and in the evening, I might spend some time on that.
What about your clients? Let's put our head in the place of where our client is. What does our client want us to do? Do they want us to dish up 916 content on their phone so they can look at it while they're waiting for their latte in line? Or is that just silly? Feels silly to me, but I'm a guy in my 50s. What do you think, Bez? Who is your ideal client, and what do they do?
My client, my client. There's two clients I have because I do headhunting, and then I also do career coaching. So my client, probably from the headhunting perspective, wants to figure out how to be more attractive as an employer to attract top talent, and how can they do this in more effective and you got cost, but you also, or investment, and you also have speed, depending on the type of positions. and that's put against timelines of what the business line is trying to accomplish, right? So they're probably going to want to know, hey, how can we either recruit better, become an employer of record, or even work with third parties more effectively to get ahead of the curve? Number one. On the career coaching side, I think at the end of the day, I have two types of clients. And this is really interesting because I didn't know my second type of client existed till it came to me. So the first one is they're in transition, looking for their next job, or they're currently at a job they don't like, and they're looking for that dream job, right? The second thing is that they want to flex their leadership muscle, so they're looking for leadership development, and that was quite a surprise.
Wow.
Yeah, like somebody that was already like at a very high level, went the technical route, but went to the highest you can go in a corporation, that from a pay perspective it's equal to a director from a people management side, but now they want to make the jump to people management, and they need a coach to help them see what they can't see. So that's been the second type, and that caused me to go from having a 7-pillar framework to have an 8-pillar framework, and I've included a leadership component to my framework, which actually is, I think we're all on some type of leadership journey, whether we know it or not, right? And we're all at different levels on the spectrum. We could be at level 0, we could be at level, because to me, a leadership journey, you never really arrive. You just keep evolving, right? You keep making mistakes, getting better, learning. So yeah, I don't know what's that level called. I do know a term does exist between a great boss versus a super boss. And that's a whole different discussion that I can really
I love this. I love this.
in.
This is exactly why I'm so glad you pulled that apart. So if we take that really interesting cohort, people that have been doing it a while now want to be leaders, it's a conscious decision, a very deliberate intention. Where do they hang out? Do you reckon the leaders are hanging out on their phone for 10 hours a day? They're not. Right? Leaders are hanging out on TikTok and Instagram looking at pictures of cakes and babies. No, they're not. So once you know who your exact target market is, this helps you create those 10 pieces or those 30 pieces of content. It's not what they call busy work. It's not just making content so you can get your certificate. Where is your ideal client, and where do they hang out? So I'm going to hold that thought. This is a very, very, very good discussion. You've identified a group I didn't really even know existed. I didn't know that there was a group like that. It never occurred to me because I'm not that person. So there's a person who's reached there's a pinnacle of their physical work potential, but they now want to take it into a leadership role. Plenty of people doing this for a coaching job, but where do they hang out? I'm guessing it's not TikTok. Let's have this discussion. What do you think, guys? Jump in. Where's your ideal client, Americo, and where do they hang out?
Well, I could tell you where they're not. As of today, I've made the decision, and I mentioned this yesterday. I have put up 3 headstones, and I have exited the TikTok market, the Facebook business market, as well as, what's the other one? Oh, my X account. All 3 of them I have exited gracefully and will not miss. I thought that my ideal client would be there, especially TikTok. And it turns out that my message just would not resonate with the community. Wasn't getting the engagement. I was getting.
How did you find that out? Did you just by research, just by doing the stats?
Well, just the stats, X and Facebook alone, just the sheer size of my community. Like we're talking very small. It just would not grow. And for every new follower I'd get, I'd probably lose one within a day or two. So we're between the 2 accounts, I would say generously, there was probably 50 followers at any given time. TikTok. So it's important to also understand that these platforms have benefits, which I was kind of sold into the idea. Hey, you know what? If you really want to grow, you got to get a creator account and you got to get set up a business account, because you're not going to grow just with a personal account. So, all right, I took the advice and I grew my TikTok community to over 1,000 members, and just found myself with crickets. Wasn't getting any engagement, wasn't getting any conversations, tried a little bit of outreach, tried a few different things based on the TikTok professionals and their best practices, and it just nothing would stick. So there's no point in dancing on a stage where no one's watching. It's very very lonely adventure. So
well, I'd like to dance on the stage that nobody's watching, because that's an ideal thing for me, right? Because that's where I get my practice if nobody's watching.
So,
but listen, I get your analogy. I understand.
I gave it a try.
It's very important. Like, I mean, what a wonderful insight, because we have been told to be everywhere for everyone, and it's just quite frankly bullshit. It's just bullshit.
No, it is. So I had over 1,000 businesses following me on LinkedIn, but zero engagement. I'd get engagement from non-business community members. I somehow would find my way into their feed. But the business community wasn't, they were following, but they weren't engaging. So there's really no point in having to invest, and it's not that much of a time investment, because you can just repurpose to your point. You can reformat the content to 9:16 and upload it. And that doesn't require much time or much investment, but the message is being lost.
Yeah. So, and there's a psychological drain, even if it doesn't take a lot of time. Like, email for me is the most depressing thing I've ever done. I put, time, what it might only be 10 minutes, but I put time into putting these emails. Nothing happens. Right? That's just debilitating for me. I do a Substack post. I enjoyed it. I put it up there. I got 1,000 views in 14 days. I mean, it's the same amount of effort for me, but the ROI, the psychological benefits are different. I need results. I'm a stats guy. I just can't put it out there and hope that someone will watch it one day in the next 20 years. I need to know that this is working. It's worth my time. People want it, and that please do another one. So picking up on this idea, we've had a really good discussion about this. I want to run the room. Lynn, have you had a very good sort of think about what your ideal client is, and we can brainstorm that, and where are they doing? What are they doing? Are they on TikTok and Instagram, or are they on YouTube or LinkedIn? Have you had a bit of a think about this? Because this helps us to put the content in the right place.
Well, for my and I have thought about this too, Keith. So because of what I want to specialize in and what I do specialize in, and or my niche market, I guess you might say, being cruise, that tends to be, well, the thinking was at one time it was older, but here recently I have found that it is more millennial. So millennials hang out on Instagram, and I do have Instagram. So, and I do put stuff. I do have auto post that go on there, and occasionally I will put in some things that are, personal, or maybe some bits from travels that I've been on and post them. or maybe video, whatever the case may be. But that's where the stats tell me Instagram and Substack and that's one of the reasons why I'm working on building Substack a little bit more. I've got an upcoming trip and I want to take some content and put it out on Substack. And with your repurpose 30/30 idea, I do have a lot of videos that I recorded in 2024 and 2025 that I can kind of mesh up and put out on Substack, but I've just got to it's going to be a little bit of a day or two of figuring out how I want to do that. But so for the millennials, they're cruising now.
Yeah.
And
well, it could be as simple. It could be as simple. This is a very good point. I've got to throw to Lachelle on this as well. The idea that a lot of people, not me, but a lot of other people, they love 9:16 phone videos. Like they're on their phone, on the train, getting their latte, hanging out with their mates. I don't understand this lifestyle because I don't live it. Makes me sound very old and feel very old. But the point is that the average millennial is on their phone 10 hours a day or 6 hours a day. And so they're on the phone and you see it. They're on their phone from the station to work, from their work to the car park. Hopefully they're not on the phone when they're driving, but I have seen that too. And, it's now illegal in Australia to do that. There's really sophisticated tech now. You can get a fine $600 if you're on your phone in your car. There's a camera in every set of lights. So, we know this is very dangerous, but you just go out into the street and you watch any number of people from here until lunchtime and you'll see people walking, reading their phone. I'm thinking, you're walking. I mean, aren't you going to bump into something? I do it sometimes if I'm in a hurry and I see myself doing it. I'm walking, reading my phone. When did that happen? When did that start happening? You're walking. You're supposed to be watching where you're going. And people wear headphones as well. Come on. I mean, you're living on a different planet. So if that's the truth, if that is the truth, that the average person is on their phone, walking and doing everything on their phone, then we need to put content where they are. And if that means 9:16 videos, then we have to just find tech that does that for us. And you've probably started noticing that videos are starting to appear in 9:16 now. Starting to, they've been for a long time, but it's a thing. People are, and I don't like this format, which is why I notice it all the time, but it's the thing. So if millennials are your target market, they are on their phone all the time, 6 to 10 hours a day. We just have to put our content where they are. We don't need to. They don't need to find us. We need to find them. Very good discussion. Yeah, Bez, can I ask you, as a guy, I mean, similar age, not same as me, but do you find that you're dealing a lot with millennials? Are they a phone-based culture? Are you finding that even headhunting or leadership roles for millennials are based on their phone, or are they still losing their laptop or PC when looking for work and doing hard tasks?
Well, this is interesting. I'm looking at your graph. My sweet spot for most of my clients are Generation X, but millennials are over 40 years old right now. And I do have clients that are millennials, maybe the earlier millennials that are 40 plus. And then I do cross over with some baby boomers that are my clients. And I would say they're more the late boomers. And then on the millennial side, there are the earlier millennials because they're over 40 right now. But yeah, I have that range. I've noticed this is where most of my clients come from as it relates to career coaching. In regards to recruiting, they can span all three segments. I mean, even Generation Z. Because some of them are highly intelligent. I mean, they're developing AI tech, and so they're in high demand. But yeah, I mean, um, depending what business, though recruiting could range any one of them, and I do realize which ones I'm mainly dealing with. But in regards to career coaching, the sweet spot's Generation X, but millennials and baby boomers, I also deal with them.
Yeah. And so with that in mind, you would need probably, if you do have several target markets, you'd probably have to do 3 pieces of content for every piece of content you do, because the baby boomers will not be watching videos on their phone, probably not
Right.
not exceptionally, but and the millennials are probably not hanging out on their laptop reading a blog post.
Right.
They might, but so you've got it. This is a fascinating topic because repurposing becomes an all-encompassing thing. But
Right.
you want to focus, like you want to focus where the result is, and if you get a result with baby boomers,
Yeah, you have to be you hit it dead on, Keith. You have to be strategic and focus to, okay, who's your target market, right? And where how do they consume content? Because sometimes you don't even know they're consuming your content, yet you will get a conversion. Here's a case in point, and I've told this story before. So somebody I know was looking for a job or a contract, has their own consulting firm. They're VP level in PR and marketing communications. They're an executive in that. International experience, quite accomplished, was in transition and started doing a post from their consulting page, LinkedIn page, which they made it look like a company page, as their consultancy, and also their personal profile. Like I think on a Monday they did one from their personal profile, and on a Wednesday they did one from their company profile. So they develop content around their expertise. What all of a sudden, this person was reached out by an old friend that they had actually gone K through 12 to school, and then they both went off to college, and everybody started their own life. He ended up being a CEO at a company. Well, he told her, I look forward to your content every week. In fact, I print it up, take it to my executives, and we discuss your content. Now, what she told me is he never once liked or commented on her post ever, not even once. And so when he reached out to her, it was a total shock. But here's what happened. She got a consulting gig out of it, a very nice one. And before she even finished the first, while she was in midstream of the first assignment, and right in middle of it, they gave her a second and third assignment.
Oh, it's such a great story, isn't it? You don't know. You don't know who's listening.
Yeah, and here it is. They didn't even engage on her content. So how are you going to measure that?
Wow. Okay.
They printed up her content. Like, this is old school. I'm going to print up a blog post. Really? Why don't you share it electronically and put it on a Google Doc and have a link and everybody can all look at it at the same time? Dude,
Yeah, someone asked me yesterday for my home address so they could send me an article.
What?
Oh, my nanny used to do that, like in the 80s. I found this article in the paper, Keith. Can I send it to you? Yep. What's your address? What's your address? Come on, can't you just send me the link? But let's pick up on this. Let's not let this opportunity go. This is very, very important. A bit of a hidden gem. Someone silently, what we would call a lurker, was silently looking at your content thinking, this person's good, and I'm going to find you a job. I'm not going to tell you until I got one, but I'm looking out for you. And then when the opportunity arises, they contact you silently out of nowhere years later. I would love to know if this is a thing, because lurkers sort of frustrate me. I need to know. I have to have stats, but some things, the best things happen that you might not know. I know, Americo, you've got a big sort of philosophy about lurkers. Have you heard this story? Have you heard Bez tell this story? And did it have a similar story?
I have heard the story Bez shared recently, and listen, I have a newfound appreciation for lurkers. I think they are the biggest buying or purchasing demographic, because as much as followers engage with your content, don't expect your engagement to automatically translate into revenue of any kind. They're advocates, and they're important to be part of your community as advocates. But I don't have a specific story per se that goes as deep as Bez. But I do get DMs from time to time where someone says, "Hey, I was watching one of your episodes, or I came across something," and I'm scratching my head. It's like, we've never met. I've never seen you anywhere. How did this transpire? But it is a real thing that does happen. So you got to be mindful, not only who's listening and who's engaging, but who's not visible to you.
I want to pick up on this.
I just want to interject here, and that is how this is the most important part of your brand. How people talk about you or don't talk about you while you're not in the room, but they're thinking about you.
Yeah.
Like, how do you measure that?
That's right. Yeah. It's really, I mean, I guess you've got to be on your A game all the time. And this is a very good example of repurposing. There's only so many hours in the day. Next week, I'm very proud of this. Next week, I'm doing a show which is going to be really, really good, called Outsourcing or AI. And we're going to ask the question, if this becomes too much for us individually, which of the two scenarios would we embrace? And I sort of do come from a point of view of limited resources, because in reality, there's only one of me, and I do like to work on my own. So we're going to talk about outsourcing or AI. Which is the better format for your project? And you can do a bit of both. And the person that's going to speak is very, 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 very interesting. She's been reading this book called Not How, Who. It's not, this is a fascinating concept, because I would never have thought of this on my own, and I'm not even sure I agree with it. It's not about how to do it. It's about finding who can do it. Man, that is such an interesting topic. Imagine if you could find the ideal person to do the project that you have, and you just employ them. Don't try and do everything yourself and try and find AI that will. I've never heard of this book. I just came across it today. But imagine it. Not how, who. Sold 200,000 copies.
I've interviewed one of those authors on my podcast.
Oh, you have? Well, tell us about that. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think of the idea?
Dr. Benjamin Hardy was who I interviewed. Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm gonna have to repost that on the link here. I think that it's really true, because we can really get caught up into the concepts of thinking about the tools and the resources, and we just forget about the people. I mean, how easy is it for us to be like one or two steps away from somebody? And really, I think the who is important, because it's an example of what happens here on this platform, being able to do things in real time. If you go through all and I'm not saying tools and other resources are not valuable, but there's something about the manpower and that energy in real time that I think is something that you just can't put a price tag on.
We're proving our own point here, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Like there is a piece of tech for every single thing that we could ever do as human beings, but we've got to do it. We've got to find it. We've got to pay the piece of tech. We've got to work it out. We've got to do it. Imagine being able to outsource that, hand it out and get, look, you do that. Like I drop my car off at 8 o'clock in the morning and they say, look, just go and get a coffee and a muffin and just take your time and walk on the beach and talk to the seagulls, come back. And in 2 hours time, my car is cleaned and it's had a service and all the bits and pieces have been looked at and changed. And you just drive off into the sunset and we'll see you in 2 years. All right, no worries. How much does that cost? I'm willing to pay it because I don't want to fix my own car. I don't want to get my hands dirty. No way. So outsourcing is a bit of a miracle. And I'm going to talk at great length about this. And if it transpires that a lot of the people that end up buying our stuff are not statable, that we can't find them, then we probably do need to put out more stuff than we even think at the moment because we don't know where they are. It's a bit of a dangerous cliff to jump off, isn't it? I mean, imagine if your ideal client is out there, but you don't know. That's hard. My brain can't compute that.
Well, actually, they're all around you, right? It's like in Rotary, I went into Rotary to give, not to get anything out of it. I that wasn't my intent, but because I showed up, I tried to make this world a better place. I have gotten more opportunities you can shake a stick at, because who hangs out at Rotary? Think about that. Leaders, people who are it could be the mayor of your town or city. It could be the CEO of a company, small, medium, or large. It could be a VP. It could be your local city council person. There's people who join civic and service organizations or membership organizations that want to give back. That's why they're there, right? And so when you are next to them and you're handing out some shoes or you're in a soup line feeding the less fortunate, you don't know that they're watching you, but they're watching you. And I tell people, those in my career coaching program, that's what you call a walking resume. It's not on paper. It's basically your brand that you develop with every breath you take.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. We all want to hang out with people that are doing the work. There's so many people on LinkedIn says, guess what? I bought a Lamborghini. I'm pretty clever. I've got enough money to buy a Lamborghini. And here it is. I'm sitting in it. And isn't that cool? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no worries. What are you doing? What are you doing to earn that money? Oh, you don't need to know that. I just wanted to tell you how good I was. Okay, no worries. That's one-dimensional post. The other post, a lot of people, and I do this even too, I'm not telling you all that I'm doing. I do these shows and I have a bit of fun. And if you're on the show, you'll get to hear the gossip. But I'm not spouting my own products. I don't go out every day and say, hey, guess what? I just did this or I did that. Right? And the really powerful people are the ones that have got boots on the ground and doing it. And that's what you're saying, isn't it, Bez? The people that are doing it, they want to hang out with people that are doing it. I'm getting a bit sick of all these fluffy posts about buying cars and having holidays and sitting on the beach in a bikini. Not that I could do that, although I could probably have a go at a mankini if I was game. But the point is that, I'm not going to tell you that I'm sitting on the beach drinking pina coladas. That doesn't add any value to my brand at all. Some people think that is branding. Some people think that is content.
Well, the research shows that people. So many years ago, and you'll remember this book, many of you here, there was a book written based on research that was called The Millionaire Next Door. Does anybody remember that book?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you remember from that book that talked about how affluent people show up? Now, they defined affluent that it had to be liquid. A million had to be very liquid or close to liquidity. You could turn it liquid very fast. Okay. So that was a definition, right? And they did differentiate people who made 10 million, but spent 10 million and won. They didn't consider them affluent. Okay. They consider them, they can make money, but they don't know how to keep it. So they looked for people who had $1 million minimum in a liquid state.
Yeah. I remember there was a very, very good phrase from Warren Buffett, picking up on what you've just said, and then we'll keep it going, that said, what you spend doesn't tell me how much you make. It just tells me how much you spend. Warren Buffett, probably the world's richest man. He never talks about how much he buys. He happens to have buckets of money, but he doesn't spend it. He probably gives it away. Very quiet person. So what did you notice about people that were affluent? $1 million in the bank, grabbable straight away, not sort of in shares or in investments that take up years to mature. What are you thinking? What's the key ingredient?
Well, I want to ask everybody here on stage. Well, do you remember what kind of cars they drive? What did the book say? The book said that the researchers made fun of them because they called them, they drive these cars that they were heavy, they by the pound, right? They were American made. Nothing flashy, definitely not a Lamborghini. In fact, they call it the millionaire next door because they could be your neighbor. They own businesses that don't seem too sexy. Like maybe they own that junkyard and it's the only junkyard. Maybe they own a really good plumbing business and they're one of the best in your town. Maybe on and on and on, these businesses that on Main Street that don't seem sexy, but I mean, there's so I can remember I really got into that book. Where do they send their kids to school? Is it private school, public school? I mean, the book was fascinating. I don't know if any of you guys remember data from there, but please share it because I really dug into that book, and I don't want to be the only one talking up here.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I didn't read that one.
There was others that came after that, but it was Dr. Stanley and another person. Actually, I've got the book. Hang on.
You make me want to read it, though.
I think the key question there is not how they spend it, but how do they make it? Was there these very sort of showy people? Do they make their money differently to the people that are showy? Because that's what I'm interested in. I don't care what you spend your money on, but how did you make it? How did you make the money? And was there a trend in their mindset of how they made the money? Because a lot of people can make money. There's a lot of millionaires in the world. $1 million is actually, be careful how I say this, but $1 million today in 2025 is actually not that much.
No,
it's only 10 years at 100 grand. And a lot of people are making 100 grand, 6 figures, they call it. Yeah. So a lot of people are making 100 grand, as you know, because in LinkedIn, most people on LinkedIn are making 100 grand.
Yeah. I mean, the average per capita household income is 75,000. And I remember when it used to be over 100,000 here in the United States. So, but I wanted to go back to the millionaire next door. It was Dr. Thomas Stanley and Dr. William Danko. I had this book. It's back in my California home, so I found it in a thrift store and I bought it again. A fascinating book. I will tell you that if you read it, you may be a millionaire next door in the making. Because they're not too flashy. They're your average everyday Joe. In fact, here I live in Northeast Georgia, and there's a lot of people that don't look that affluent, but people tell me don't be fooled by those overalls and straw hat because they got more than $1 million in the bank. Yeah. They buy their trucks full cash.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a very important question. how do they spend? How do they make it? How do they spend it? Like some people, and Gary Vee talks a lot about this. One of the symptoms of burnout is that we actually don't want to be successful. We want to be seen to be successful. You know, people are more interested in showing you how successful they are than being successful. Most people that are successful, you wouldn't know. You know, we don't know how much we have in the bank. No one's talking about that. So no one's telling you. But and the people, you know, the person who can do can't teach, right? Or the person that teaches can't do. So I'd be very interested to know two things here. One is, how do they make their money and how do they spend their money? So I'm not going to have a plumbing business if it makes me $1 million because I hate plumbing. I don't want to get my hands dirty. So I've got to have fun. I don't want to run a junkyard if there's money in it because I wouldn't do it. I want to have fun. So I'd be very interested to know if there's a lot of people who have made money that have had fun doing it, but just don't need to tell you about it. And
yeah, I mean, they don't tell you. That's the thing. They're not flashing it. They got $1 million in the bank, but they're not driving a Lamborghini. They can't afford it. They definitely can't afford a Lamborghini because not when you got $1 million liquid in the bank, what do you think the creditors are willing to do? Give you 5x a credit line to that, right? If not more, right? Because money makes money.
yeah,
And if you got $1 million liquid, someone says, I'll give you a $5 million line of credit. No problem.
but you
Right?
don't need it.
No. But you have that access to that type of money because that is also a strategy. Some people they'd rather use someone else's money than their own money, right? Because they know the money game. So when you're liquid like that, all sorts of doors open up. But you know, most of them didn't get there overnight, right? It was a lot of hard work, and they appreciate the hard times and the good times, and they're able to survive all you know, the good with the good and the lows with the lows. You know, they can make it through. But
Do you think the people that are flashy, do you think they're making the money or do you think they're more involved in showing you how? There are examples of this, but I'm interested in the generics. Do you think people that are showing you how much money they make are actually making it, or are they more trying to shove it in your face, and the truth isn't there?
well, who cares if I mean the talent to make it is phenomenal, right? But if you make 10 million, spend 10 million one, you're not affluent. You're broke ass, right? You're dead broke. I mean, it's like doesn't matter if someone made $10,000 or $100,000 that year, and you made 10 million, but they saved 25,000, and you're a dollar broke. You're in the red, right?
This is a good game, and let's play this game. Michael Jackson. Do you think he was in the black or the red when he died?
If you're selling your catalog, something's not right. He was probably leveraged to the tilt.
You know, he was
So-
$500 million in debt on the day he died.
That's what I'm saying. He was leveraged to the tilt.
Now, is that wise? He was pretty dollars in debt. Financially, I
That's
wouldn't
not
call
true.
that successful, right?
No. But the appearances sure seem fine. But think about it. When you're that much in debt, who's also in it with you? The people that lent you the money. They cannot let you fail, right?
Yeah. This is
So
actually a
it's
very
a
good
whole-
example. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go. Let's keep this
I'm
going.
just
This is actually the main reason I love Substack, and I'll come back to this. Michael Jackson, $500 million in debt, very successful person. Everyone in the world's heard of him, even my dad. But $500 million in debt is not a good position. So financially, not very successful. Great songwriter, excellent singer, pretty funky guy, but not a success in what we would in financial terms. Substack this is very cool. This is why one of the reasons I love it. Substack is free. They make money when you make money. Talking about being in it with you. Substack wants you to succeed. Because if you make $100, they get $10. So they get 10%. So they're giving you all the tools known to humankind to make sure that you make money because they make money. It's a very good model. It's not some people, they charge a $30 fee and they say, look, I don't care what you do with it. I don't care. You pay me to use the site and then the site's yours to use. I don't care if you make money or you're having fun or you never use it. I don't care. You've paid me and I get my money. Substack, and I don't know many businesses like this, but there's a few of them. They make their money when you make their money, right? So they're highly motivated for you to make money because that's their whole model. I love this model. It's going to be free forever if we never make money. And as soon as we make money, they get 10%. What do you think, Bez? You think that's a good model?
Hey, they're banking on your success. I like what you just said. But there's a price to pay. They've got the platform. Everybody's falling head over heels because what are they doing? They're sharing and recommending, and you're growing and everybody else is growing. It's almost like, have you ever heard the term share and share alike? There's a lot of sharing going on Substack and everyone's benefiting, right? It's really fascinating just to watch their model versus other social media platforms. I don't know if that resonates with you guys, but we're here talking about it time and time again, and we're like, wow, where were we? But I remember, I need to figure out how long I've been on that platform, but it's been a minute, and but it's doing good now. So
you're on Substack, Biz?
I am. I got like 6 subscribers. I've got let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can share my. If you go there, I've got a profile called that is basically at Bez Renhefo. And then what I'm trying to do, for the longest time, I've been trying to start one about Rotary. And then I was going to change it because I didn't feel like doing one on Rotary. But now that we can have multiple ones, I'm building one out called the Leverage Career Collective because that's the career coaching side of what I do. And so you'll see too, and it's interesting. I don't know if you guys know this. So it's sort of like LinkedIn where you have your profile, your profile, and then you can start different. I believe they're called subscription.
Yeah.
What are they called?
So you can subscribe to them.
Yeah, there's like what is it called now? Like I can have 2 different types of is it called subscription? I don't know. Let me look. Because on one I have 10 subscribers and on the other one I have 6 subscribers. And I was like, oh, okay. So they segment it. Like, so I've got nothing in both areas, but somehow I got 10 subscribers plus 6 subscribers. But I need to hook my Stripe, and you're supposed to have 10 subscribers before you can go live, but that should be easy once I finish my setup.
You now have 7.
Yeah,
Yes, I
I'm
see
supposed to
that.
follow you too.
All right.
Now this is reciprocal.
Yes, let me.
I want you to be number 14.
Let me find you.
Sorry about that. I dropped out, but Substack is a miracle, and I think we as a community can help each other grow there because they want us to make money, and they're going to give us lots and lots of power to do that. But what I was referring to before I dropped out was that there are sites that charge a monthly fee from day one, whether you're making money or not. I don't care if you're making money; you just have to pay them. So Kajabi, Go High Level, Heartbeat, and several others, lots of others. School with a K. These sites are $97 from day one, and maybe they'll help you make money, but they take that money if you make money or not. Whereas Substack only takes money when you make money. Now, I love that model. I just love that model. They make 10%. It's a hefty number. And the people that are making lots of money are paying 10% of that. But for all those people that are just starting on Substack, it's not costing us anything to play there. So it's very, very attractive, isn't it?
And they drive traffic to you. So that costs money if you want to drive traffic to you on Facebook. On most social media platforms, only 2% of your own audience will see your content. So we as the product were using the free versions, all these social media platforms, we built these platforms, but they don't belong to us. And therefore, now it's pay to play. So anytime you post and you're like, why am I only 20 people engage with my content? Well, because that's 2% of your total. You had 2,000 people. Is 2% 20 out of 2,000, or is that too generous? I think that's correct.
And for $10, we can boost it. Just give us another $10 and we'll boost it for you. It's a different model. It's a very much geared towards the site, whereas something like Substack, it's free to use, but you've got to leverage it in order to take it up a notch. And I'd be very interested to know how people are doing this. We've got quite a few people in the audience, and there is indeed the interview with Benjamin Hardy. I just saw that now. There's a bit of a time lag between when the content goes to LinkedIn and when it comes to Restream. There's quite a big lag time there. But there is the interview with Benjamin Hardy. Are you still there, Lachelle? Do you want to talk about this idea?
Yeah, it was an awesome interview. I was able to interview him because he was releasing not this book, but it was Personality Isn't Permanent. And so at the time, he and his wife had recently adopted some kids. And this was before he got big. Okay. So I think it's awesome how he was able to connect with a lot of people, continuing to pursue his passion around behavior science. So pretty awesome.
And you've put that on Substack now.
Yeah, so that's one of the podcasts that was on my Spotify. So that's what I was doing in the background, was looking for it, because everything is cataloged. I think it was like 255 episodes that went over there. And so I was trying to figure out which one it was, because I interviewed him in June, but I think we just kept the interview until he had a launch that was scheduled. And so he just went on a interview tour a few months before the launch. And so all of the episodes went live at the same time.
Oh, wow. And isn't it amazing how it all spins around?
Yeah.
Like, because we've been doing this such a long time, we will know people and have dealt with them before they became famous. It's a great thrill, isn't it? When you talk to someone and then they crack it. And you're really happy for them, aren't you? You're so excited for them, because you think, hang on, he was a really nice person, and he came on my show when his first book came out, and now his new book's sold 200,000 copies. He may even be open to talking about this.
Yeah, well, in the other book he did, I think it was a 10X or something. He did another one, I think, with Dan. He's just really he's done well because he did emails, y'all. He did emails where he would this we didn't talk about this when I interviewed him, but I just have been a part of some of his promotions, and so he did emails, and I think he still does them. They're really quick, and then they have an embed usually to go directly to his YouTube channel. So he does a good job with that.
I'd be interested to look at those. What I'm really interested in is I had never heard of this book until today, and I'm not entirely sure I believe this philosophy. I really want to hear what you think, not who, not what, but who, not how, who, not what, or who, not how.
A little bit of a
It is.
tongue twister, right?
I was a musician. I'll tell you this story, and we'll talk about it from this context. I was a keyboard player in a band, and there was 5 of us: a singer, a guitarist, a bass player, a keyboard player, and a drummer. And we would we would get together twice a week, and we did gigs, and we did a few sort of CDs. That's what was going on at the time. We even did a demo on cassette. That's how long ago it was. And then the drummer would leave, and we're thinking, "Well, geez, we can't do gigs without a drummer. Now we've got to get another drummer." And he says, "You know that really good song, the one they really like at the end? You can't do that because I wrote that." "Yeah, but that's our best song." He said, "Well, I wrote that song and you can't use it because I'm leaving." "Oh, well, okay, no worries. You've got to get another drummer who's got to learn all the songs." So this idea of I'm really interested in this discussion. This idea of relying on someone else, it sort of runs against my DNA. It just runs against me because I have done this so many times and I've been let down. So I am the sort of person that likes to do things myself and rely on my own resources, which is why I don't have formal guests, right? Because they almost never turn up and really leaves me, in a spot. So I'm really interested in this idea. Is it better to find people that you can rely on and rely on them, or is it better to do it yourself? We can have a little bit of a discussion about this today, but we're going to really pull this apart next week. What do you think, Michelle?
Well, I think what it does is when you have a who to the equation, it can improve your belief because you can physically talk and interact with somebody who connects with your vision. Whereas you can have all the, blueprint to do something, and not saying that, you can't do it without other people. I was that person that thought I could do it all by myself. I was an only child, was raised to be very independent, did well in school, and it ended me in the hospital 3 times with 13 years of depression because I feel like it's so much easier when you have a team or you collaborate.
Yeah.
It's just
They
amazing.
lighten the load.
You
Don't
can go on
they?
vacation. You can sleep at night. You're not up all night trying to learn something that is not your gift.
Wow.
You can relax.
I love this
So yeah,
discussion. I just love this discussion. Outsourcing versus AI. Do we do everything ourselves with the help of tools, or do we find a really collaborative team? Now, we're going to pull this apart at great length next week, but let's give everyone a turn to riff on this. What do you think, Bez? Do you believe in outsourcing, or are you the guy that wants to do everything himself, or is there a bit of both? What's your current paradigm there?
I have learned to outsource, and I'll tell you it's been a journey, so I haven't been perfect. But I'm starting to embrace it. I mean, it's something, like when you work for corporate America and you have teams of people doing things, what's the point of having a team if you don't conquer and divide? So, that's something I've done many times. When you go on your own, it's a little bit harder because you want to control the quality. Then you realize that, hey, there may be people that can do it better than you. So why don't you give up control? And now that I'm doing some things like 1 million cups and, some volunteer efforts, we have 9 organizers. And because we have 9 organizers, we've been in the paper 6 times. We've been on the front page 4 times. We're about to win an award, a community award, and all the organizers are going to get their own individual awards. We're going to take the show on the road, and we're going to go to a very prestigious location to, just the opportunities keep coming. But you know what? If I did it alone, I'd still, we'd still be at five of us meeting together. We've grown it to 42 people, showing up, and we continue to evolve and grow. But that doesn't happen without letting go and letting other people do their part. So
I love this discussion. This is something I can learn from too. I think I've been let down so many times that I just find it easier to do it myself. But as you said, there's only so many things you can do yourself before you do need to let go and build on a team. What do you think, Americo? Have you had that experience of doing it yourself or being in a team? Have you got some ideas about the dichotomy there?
Well, here's my thoughts. So before AI and outsourcing was even something that people discussed as a norm, from a leadership perspective, we always used to look at the who. You show them how, and you empower them. And that was what successful leaders did. They built their teams and they empowered those who were skilled in a particular discipline to go out and run with those skills. So I totally am looking forward to this conversation. And a lot of this resonates. Now, if you ask me today, between AI and outsourcing, a good part of me is still hanging on to wanting to do things myself. I'm leaning towards AI because it is not only a cost-effective way of doing it, but it still gives me some kind of control. And maybe it's just the nerd in me, because AI gives you all these analytics and all this data, and you can quantify the efforts that AI is putting through. I'm sure you can do that with outsourcing, but I do look at outsourcing from a different lens. And I know we talked about this a few weeks back. In countries where there's abundance, you're helping out economies where perhaps abundance is scarce, and you're giving back to those economies and helping those communities out. But I would do that as a supplement and not take from your own economy and leave people here in your local economy suffering at the expense of a ledger sheet.
Yeah, I love this discussion. The idea of outsourcing has a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings in the sense that you're giving, and I often say this to my wife, but they need the money. And she often says, well, we can't keep them alive, but we can't do everything ourselves. So the guy that fixes my car, he's got a job. Now he's got a job. He can feed his family. He can go out for tea. He can put petrol in his own vehicle. I could have fixed that car, maybe, but no one else gets paid. I save probably a bit of money, but I've got to do it. So the power of outsourcing, if you take it from that point of view, is one, it's your time if you're doing it, as opposed to paying someone else for their time. You save time, they get paid. You've got to fund it, which might not necessarily be where you're at. My challenge is that, and I think this is my challenge particularly, I don't trust people. I don't want to rely. And you and I, Americo, have had very specific examples of this. I do a show at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday and it's live. If the guest doesn't turn up, I have nothing. Right? This has happened to me many, 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 many times. So I don't have guests anymore. I don't have a scheduled guest anymore. Haven't done that for 3 months. My shows are better because I don't have to rely on someone to turn up. And I think for me, the issue is relying on people. I don't like relying on people. I don't mind paying AI $20. Who is AI? I don't mind paying a company $20 a month if they can do what I need to do faster than I can do myself. I don't mind that. But I don't like relying on someone to get back to me with a graphic or a transcript or a video and have to keep chasing them. I find that a bit detestable as a solopreneur. So I'm really looking forward to this discussion because I hadn't heard of this book, and it's brought up quite a lot of challenges for me. Why don't I trust people? Why don't we trust people? Why do people want to do everything themselves? And is it possible? Lynn, have you had this trouble yourself working for yourself as a travel agent? Have you had this challenge yourself of letting go and having to give things to other people to do, or do you like to do things yourself?
Well, I do it myself. I do have the luxury of being a part of a franchise, so I can put out content about various suppliers, vacations, and things like that that may be going on within for my company. So in that sense, it's really pretty handy. I probably, to be honest, I probably don't take advantage of as much as I should. But when it comes to AI, I do use it. I find it handy. I love it. It's come in very handy at times when I am putting together an itinerary for a client, because I can pull pictures and I can put information about restaurants nearby, things like that. So it's really good for it's a handy tool. I do use it quite often.
What did we used to do before AI? Do we just do everything ourselves, or do we just flounder? And as Lachelle said, stay up at night doing it. You're working 2 a.m. and things still don't get done. What was life like before AI? I'm really quite fascinated by this. What do we used to do? How do we do it? How do we keep up? What do we used to do? Let's have that discussion. For me, they just didn't get done. Things just didn't get done. Things like
I still, I still don't use a lot of AI. It's just not a habit for me yet. So still, it's a lot of things that if they're not done that day, they get prioritized for later on in the week or something like that. And then I just interact with a lot of people that can give me insight on how I can do things faster or eliminate some steps to some of the things that I'm doing. But I have a network of people that are all ages. I have a network where, some people are my kids' age. Then I have some that are older than me and, in between. Because with the younger audience, there's some things that I have that are attractive to them. Like, I might have more followers to them on Instagram, so they're asking me about Instagram, which I just post what I can, right? And there are things that it's a give and take relationship. It's not them just giving me all the information. It's me sharing some of my insights as well.
Well, let's ask this question. Sorry, I got cut out there. What was life like before AI? Now, we're right in the middle of this is still happening, but I've often said that I was born and I lived in 2030 and I came back to 2020 and got stuck here. There's some things that are so obvious to me that haven't even been invented yet. Like, I know they're going to be invented, but I just can't wait for them to be invented. I just want to try them. So what was like before AI? What do you think, Bez? What was your life like before you started using AI? And have you fully embraced it yet?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So my microphone was hot. Good thing I didn't do anything crazy. I have fully embraced AI. Absolutely. In many, many different ways. I have known AI to be around for a long time, even before OpenAI.com. So if you don't think AI was around before then, it was, and you were using it. You didn't know it. But yeah, I've embraced it. Absolutely. And most of us have embraced it because it may show up as some form of automation or make your life easier, right? Case in point, your Google Calendar probably has AI in it and you didn't know it, right? There's many things you use today that has some type of AI, but most people aren't um, telling you their secret sauce until it was democratized by OpenAI.com. So, now we're in a different ball game, and now we're training the AI model, the large language models, and but
What did your life look like before that?
oh, I did it all manually. Sat down, hunkered down, and strategized, wrote it out myself. And it was a lift. So now I'm able to train the AI with my voice, and then put out stuff that gets me 80% there. Then I got to give it the last 20% hug, and I can be faster. Absolutely. So as it relates to content and stuff that we're probably talking about here, it used to be a very manual effort, and it took time.
Yeah, the example I was using, I think I got cut off during this, is that I remember when the VCR was invented, and I was very, 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 very excited that I could record the TV. This sounds quite silly now, but I remember being able to record the TV in advance. And we had this thing in Melbourne called the Green Guide, and the Green Guide used to tell you what shows were on and at what time, so you could record them. It came out every Thursday in the paper, and you had this lift out that told you, okay, at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night, you've got The Voice, and it's between 7 and 9 o'clock, and if you record it, it'll come out, and you'll be able to watch it later. And so this is what life was like before AI. And we're going to do a whole show on this. I used to get the Green Guide on a Thursday. When I was working, I used to read it on the train. And when I retired, I went to the cafe. And I used to take Thursdays off to read the Green Guide and circle all the shows I wanted to watch. And then I'd come home and I'd punch that data into my VCR. And I had to change the tape every time because there's only a 4-hour limit on tapes. And then we would watch videos at night of the shows we wanted to watch, and we'd fast forward the ads. I'm very interested to know if people have ever done this or still do it. And when Netflix came out, I thought, this is unbelievable. For $10 a month, I can watch unlimited TV, no ads, and it just lines itself up. I just turn up and push go and it starts. It was a genius idea. Right? No, so I can now say I lived before the Netflix idea. Did you, Bez, used to record the TV, or do you watch TV, or do you remember life before Netflix?
Yes. Actually, Netflix and I have been synonymous for a long, long time. I was an early adopter of Netflix when you could pay a subscription fee and get like 5 DVDs in the mail. And then when you're done, you return them, which was pretty crazy, right? Because there was no late fees,
Yeah.
right? And so I was using Netflix before it was streaming. That's how early adopter I was.
Well, that's a very good example because Netflix started as a DVD return service, didn't it?
Yeah, but in regards to your recording, a lot of there used to be DVRs, and I'm sure they're still around, but we used to record shows off the whether we were Direct TV or whatever service we subscribe to. Now, I have YouTube TV. You can record your shows and watch them later. So, but it's in the cloud. It's not on a hard drive in your home.
But they're not in sequence. Well, this is very important because my dad's 88, and I was born around about the time that decimal currency came into Australia, and we switched from the English pound to the decimal currency, and there was a furor, like there was a riot in Australia when that happened. This is a long time ago. And I've always been fascinated by the fact that every time there's a change, there's a revolt in some companies, in some cases, and some people. And we're now in that phase. We're in that phase of revolting. You and I aren't, but some people refuse to use it. Some people think it's, demonic, but it's just another phase. When the VCR came out, you could record TV. When the LP came out, this is a true story. When the LP came out, the New York Philharmonic Orchestra went on strike for a month and refused to record Beethoven because they thought that they would be out of work because no one would go to concerts anymore. Well, it might have been, I'll Google this in a minute, but when you could record classical music, there was a strike in the classical music fraternity because they refused to record music because their livelihood was on the line. I mean, that was like 1957. So it's in our mindset to resist this stuff, isn't it? It's in our mindset. I just find that quite fascinating. What was your life like, Americo, before AI? And have you embraced it? And what do you do now?
Well, I've definitely embraced it. And to Bez's point, AI has been here longer than we care to imagine. From the customer service side of things, as consumers, companies have been trying to enable us as customers to do and transact through some form of artificial technology. And we're going back decades when I joined the banking industry, and telephone banking was a thing. Everyone was up in arms, and they thought that branches and bricks and mortar locations were going to fold, and everyone was going to lose their job because customers now had the capability of calling in, punching in their account number, punching in their bill number, and automatically having their bills paid without having to transact or have an interaction with a teller at a wicket. But you fast forward today, you even look at search. Siri, when Steve Jobs came out with the iPhone, Siri is a form of artificial intelligence. Search is all artificial, and it's been around for decades. So to say that we haven't embraced it, we'd be foolish to all deny that, I'm not embracing this. We already have, and we have for decades.
Yeah.
Now, what it's doing today, it is saving me just oodles and oodles of hours. Because I'll piggyback once again on Bez's point, I would have to write, and I hated writing, and I wasn't good at it. And I would have to get someone else to, hey, can you take a look at this? And they would scratch it up and circle it, and it's like, oh, you got to go back and rewrite that. Now I have that capability at my fingertips, and it happens within mere seconds.
And it's possibly like the Kleenex example I have, and this is the best example, and this is probably a good place to end the show. I was a musician, and I was all right. I didn't make a lot of money, but I was able to write my own songs. I've got a demo. I've got songs on cassette, but I was all right. Then this site called Suno comes out, suno.ai. And my songs sound better than I could do myself. I know that because I've tried it. I know that all the songs I've ever done sound better with this type. So that's I've superseded myself, right? So I've got 36 versions, 36 versions of the Be Seen, Be Real, Be Remembered idea. Unbelievable. 36 versions. Now, I could never, ever, ever in my lifetime get the songs to sound that good. Doesn't matter how much I practiced, I just didn't have it in me. So is that cheating? Maybe it's cheating because my songs sound good when they wouldn't have. But what if you're not a good writer? What if you can't write? What if you just don't get it? You know, you never it doesn't matter how many times you rewrite it, it's never going to sound good. So AI can do that for us. Is that cheating or is that just common sense? This is a bloody brilliant question. It's just common sense to me. You know, we need something written. I can't do it. Let's just get Chat GPT to write it out. Make sure it's grammatically correct. Send it out. I think I can't see anything wrong with that. Although it does, I'm never going to get good at writing because I don't like it. I don't want to get good at it. I'm at a level. And I think that's what you're saying there, isn't it, Tamerico? That it doesn't matter how many times you rewrote it, you still couldn't get it right. Yeah?
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm gonna end the show. It's 3 hours in, and we're sort of repeating ourselves, and I need to get some lunch going. I'm gonna end on a version of the song, which is I was never ever gonna be able to write this myself. Next week, we're going to talk about outsourcing versus AI. We're going to espouse the value proposition about AI. But today, we've been talking about how to create compelling audio live streams with LinkedIn. It's been a fantastic show. We've been going 3 hours. We never seem to run out of things to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play one of these Suno songs, knowing full well I'm not claiming credit for this. I would never have been able to do this myself. I know this for sure. This is far better than I'm capable of doing myself. So I thought what I might do is I'm quite attracted to the disco version. Disco's coming back. It's the 2020s, but it's 1975. So I want you to imagine you go back in a time machine. It's 1975. It's Saturday night. And we've just had a great show. And then we go to this disco. And John Travolta and his girlfriend are singing this song.
Streaming tech is ready. The mic and studio are set. The audience is here and can't wait. It's a show they will never forget. Hearts are racing. This is the moment, the one we've been waiting for. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Online events bring the world together, and the replays just go on forever. Is your personal brand fading? The choices online events, social authority rising, the engagement intense, followers keep moving, your network stands still, we're chasing awareness, we're closing the deal. The engagement is heating, fans call out your name, this is no longer a game. Be seen, be heard,
And be remembered
online events
brings the world together.
and the replays
Just just go on forever.
Events are the spark, audience the fuel you crave. They said it would never work, now you wanna go live again. You no longer fade, no longer hide. You're born to ignite. You're the energy burning bright. Be seen.